San Diego, no warm-up needed. If it matters in this city, you're hearing about it right here.
The Michael King contract, super creative. I think it's a great win for the Padres.
Real opinions, real takes, no wasted time.
It has been the little things that have outdone San Diego State, and that's where they got to improve.
Live and local on 97.3 The Fan. The Braden Surprenant Show starts now.
What's up, San Diego? Happy Wednesday to everybody out there in America's finest city. He's Frank Márquez. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Good to be with all of you today on a Wednesday. What's with all of these like Wednesday, Thursday, non-day games at home this year?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of BS, if we're honest.
Yeah, what the heck, man? It's almost like going down to the ballpark, you know? It's almost like going down to the ballpark, doing shows down at the ballpark, you know? Especially after a Padres win yesterday. I thought, here's what makes like today difficult, because it's like, yeah, the Padres won yesterday, great. But at the same time, here's what I'm going to say about this. Frank says this all the time. Like, we walked into the studio today, I look up, they got Wimbledon on, and the Italian female tennis player, who I don't know their name, is like, oh, the Italian lost. And Frank went, cool, man. Okay, cool.
No, I believe
what was your direct quote?
Yeah, my exact quote was,
oh, no. Anyway.
But he basically like, cool. That's cool. Frank will do that a lot of times. That's cool. I'm honestly like, until the Padres start racking up some wins and getting back into the race, a win like yesterday is like, yeah, that's cool. Padres have won 2 of the last 3. Yeah, it's cool. But in terms of like victory and losses right now, as important as all the victories are for the Padres, because they got to try to get back in this thing a little bit, or one game under 500, need to get themselves back to a position where you can feel confident in the team. They go like this win-loss or 3 losses and then a win. It's honestly, Frank's going to be that's cool.
I mean,
at least they won a game, but
you had a good performance out of Jake Cronenworth.
I'm getting there. I'm going to get there.
Excuse me.
That's cool. Like the win, like this, that's cool. But Kevin Acee laid it out in his newsletter, and I think it's spot on, of you are looking for reasons to see that this team will win more frequently. And that is exactly where Frank was about to go with that, of you saw Jake Cronenworth start to play a lot better than he has all season long. I mean, you want to talk about a contract you can't trade? He plays like that. That's a contract you can trade. But then it gets to a point of, oh, well, he's kind of affordable now to be on the team with that kind of production for $12 million a year. Makes it a little bit more difficult. But the win yesterday, that's cool. How they won, seeing through the details of last night's victory, that is where you would actually have something to talk about and get excited about. You are looking now for signs that the Padres can consistently win. And last night with the starting pitching, well, not the first inning, crazy. Last night, the way the Padres responded on offense, last night with the way Germán Márquez settled down, last night with the return of Jhony Brito. I mean, you could, with everything pieced together of last night's victory, there were signs of the Padres can continue to win games like this, if you want to think it from an optimistic perspective. But the problem is, though, even though they've now won 2 of their last 3 games, we've seen the Padres win games like this, Frank. They haven't been able to consistently do that, though. And that's where it's like you hold your breath after a game like last night. They look good. They gave up the run in the first inning. Germán Márquez locked it back in, had a great outing after that first inning. Padres answered after what was giving up a first run inning. They put up 4 runs. Jake Cronenworth hit a home run, played a lot better. I mean, everything about that game is how you would like to see this team play on a consistent basis, but that's been the problem all season, Frank. They haven't been able to do that.
Oh, exactly. And you get great comeback performances from Germán Márquez and Jhony Brito, who you haven't seen in 2 years now. It wasn't necessarily the greatest performance. You only had 5 hits, but a home run from a guy who's been missing for most of the year and 2 standout pitching performances from guys that you've missed for most of the year in Márquez and for 2 years in Jhony Brito. Brito, an inning and 2/3 with a strikeout, no hits. That's fantastic, seeing him for the first time in 2 years. Germán Márquez coming in, gave up the run the first inning. Okay. But then he locked it down after that. 3 hits total, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks could come down a little bit, but that's nothing to really be too concerned about with how the game went. And that was a solid win last night. And that was a win from the guys who haven't been around for most of the year doing it. And I think if Jake does continue to do what he's doing, you want to get out of one of those long-term contracts. You're right. There is absolutely a world where you could trade Jake Cronenworth at the trade deadline and relieve yourself of some of that. His defense has been interesting. He did have another error last night, but his offense, where he was really lacking at the start of the year, he's getting 2 to 3 hits a night now, which is fantastic to see out of Jake.
It's good to see that out of Jake Cronenworth. I mean, I saw, there's so many Padres pages, like Facebook. You see the trends on Twitter and what like the social media fan base is saying. I mean, they all were like, this is why you can't play Jake Cronenworth second. This is why he's a detriment to the team. All this other stuff. Bottom of the inning, 3-run homer.
Yeah, he's the reason why you won the game last night.
He's the reason why you won the game last night. I am interesting about his. I am like the defense is interesting to me for Jake Cronenworth because he's always been a very solid defender. I mean, people talk about what a great first base he plays, and every time I hear that narrative, I go, "Well, the guy came up through Major League Baseball, through the minor league system, I should say, as a shortstop. It's not surprising he plays pretty good defense in other positions that are not." As physically taxing as shortstop. And the thing is, that's a little bit of, maybe that's rust. Maybe they're so worried about getting him back bat wise. I mean, he didn't take as much time on the defense. I think it's kind of an anomaly. I don't think he has turned himself into like that bad of a defender. Now, he wasn't always he's not an elite defender at second base. I mean, the metrics say that him and Luis Arraez last year were the 2 worst defenders at second base in Major League Baseball. Luis Arraez doesn't look like that anymore with the Giants. Yeah, he has been working with Ron Washington up there. That might make a big might be a big factor to this equation. So the big picture for the Padres, and I want to get into this later in the show. We were going to get into it yesterday, but we didn't have time, and I honestly, it's incredible how much of a comparison it is between the Padres this season and the Cleveland Guardians last year. Now, the Cleveland Guardians last year went on a great run, and the Detroit Tigers had a historic collapse in which the Guardians ended up winning the division in the American League Central. I don't think the Padres are going to touch the division at all. But that doesn't mean they're out of it, technically, from a wild card perspective. I mean, yeah, it seems like the season is over, but mathematically, obviously, they're not out of it yet. And Kevin Acee puts that in his newsletter of, last year, do you know what the final wild card spot was record-wise last year? How many wins the team had? It was the lowest it's been since they expanded to 6 teams.
84.
83. One off. Okay, you're close.
For God's sake.
This is all natural. This is natural casings from Frank.
Yeah, that's
this
not
is
a
not,
bit.
This is not a planned bit.
God.
It is turning itself into a bit because of the fact that Frank's been one off every single time. And then the best part is sometimes Frank actually thinks it's the right one. He actually guesses the right one and then goes, wait, I've been one off, and then turns it into being one off. taking L's over there. How was the Mets game last night?
They played?
Who are the Mets? I know you know they played because you sent early in the you sent Adam and I the Little League home run
Because I thought
from the Royals. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen. I was like, hey, good for the Mets. And then later I was scrolling through social media and it said that they lost. I'm like, that must be from Monday's game. There's no way that was. Nope, that was last night.
franchise record of 202 now with when scoring 12 runs in a game.
The Mets have only lost 2 games when scoring 12 runs or more in their history. And one of them was last night.
Yep.
After they got the Royals, the Mets can't even do that, what the Royals did last night. Do you think the Mets could do that? How many errors were on that play?
At least 4.
That was the craziest play.
That literally was just that was the definition of throwing the ball around.
That was a circus. Night. When they go like the circuses in town, that was the definition. When we look like a circus, infield looks like a circus. If you want to look up what that means in baseball, they're just going to show you the video of the Kansas City Royals throwing the ball literally all over the yard. I mean, the first throw by Seth Lugo wasn't even close. That goes up the line, and then who was the first baseman? Caglione? Who plays first over there?
So,
or whoever got the ball down the first baseline, his throw back was even worse. It was even worse.
It was unlucky.
Than Lugo's. It
was unlucky that it did not end up in the dugout.
It was unlucky it didn't hit some person in the stands. That ball was not thrown to I mean, Lugo, whoever the third baseman is, Royals at the time, and the catcher, that ball split them. That if you were trying to throw the most accurate perpendicular throw of third base line in the exact middle at 30 and a half feet, no, at what is that, 45 feet?
Yeah.
At 45 feet. That would have been the best throw.
So the wonders on that play were Jack Caglione and Nick Lofton. Those were the 2.
Hang it up, bud. You're going to be seeing that on blooper reels for a long time.
And how about Tyler Tolbert last night? Hits in 12 consecutive at-bats last night.
Yeah. Not even, don't think about think about how difficult it is to go on a hitting streak where you get 1 hit a game in a row.
He had 12 hits in 12 straight at-bats.
12 straight at-bats. You got to look up what his average was and what it's risen to. I mean, that just...
Well, his average is
through the roof.
His average is 396 now.
Wow. Kathy in LA, but wants to be in San Diego. That's the greatest YouTube name besides Jimmy Jam. And Kathy tagged you in the post on social media. So she's on YouTube and she goes, I'm just glad the Royals found a team worse than them to play.
Yeah.
You know what? You're just helping everybody out over there. Okay, back to what we were talking about with the Padres in the wild card. Okay. The 6th team in the wild card last year had 83 wins.
He's hitting 750 for the month of July.
That's cool. That's actually really cool. We could really use one of the Padres to do that. I wonder what would Manny's average be if he hit 12? If he got 12 hits and 12 straight at bats, does it go over 200?
What is it? It's 3 hits at this rate in the season. It's plus 3 points for every hit, -1 for every out. At this point,
relatively, I guess, yeah.
So if he got, hold on, we're maths.
No, don't math on that. We'll do that during a break. Don't do that on air. I want to get to why I brought that up. So Kevin Acee put out in his, speaking of math, in his newsletter, if the 6th seed only needs 83 wins, which I don't think that's going to be the case. Do you think it's going to be the case? I think you're going to need more than 83 wins to make the playoffs.
Might not be too far off because the NL Central is going to have to start beating each other up at some point. So it might not be too far off. The only thing that's going to hurt you is the tiebreakers that you lost.
If the Padres go 38-33 in the remaining games, they'll have 83 wins. They got to win 39 games to win 84. They got to win 40 to win 85, all the way up to, if they want to win 89 games, they got to go 44-27. So that's why you have to look to see if they could rack up wins if they're playing, and their playing style is something to be excited about. To me, it's got to be more than just one day, because we've seen them play like last night a couple of times this year. They got to be able to just rally off some. And the difficult part about that, though, Frank, is the starting pitching.
Yeah.
It's hard to get those guys to like consecutively have good outings. And it's amazing how far some of these players have fallen off when it comes to starting pitching. I mean, we were singing Walker Buehler's praises up until last two starts.
Mm-hmm.
He's regressed back to what I think a lot of people thought he was going to be. But here's the reality of a lot of this. I mean, Manny is right to an extent. I don't like using injuries as an excuse, because they're not, but it does tell a story. I mean, your starting rotation, you thought Walker Buehler was good. He was battling with Germán Márquez to be the 5. Now they're both in the rotation, and you need them to both be 2 and 3 in the rotation. Go Essex in the YouTube chat. Say they still have a chance at a 5-2 homestand.
Yeah, you do.
If they go 5-2 on the homestand, I'll buy back in on the Padres a little bit on the wild card.
100%. If they go 5-2 and then say 4-3, 5-2 on the Comic-Con road trip after, I'll buy in on it again. 100%. I'll buy in on it again.
And they get to play that Royals team. Maybe they get inside the park home run. They get the Little League home run with 50 errors.
And you have Michael King going tonight, so you're hoping that's a little bit of a stabilizer,
please,
for the rotation. And then it's Griffin Canning versus Merrill Kelly, 2 guys with ERAs over 5.5.
This is what I'm talking about the Diamondbacks. Remember we had that guy early in the season is like, oh, watch out for the Diamondbacks. They're about to, they beat up on the Giants and the Rockies. They got back up to where the Padres are at.
Mm-hmm.
They still can't stay in front of the Padres in the standings. Think about how bad the Padres have played. And just know that the Arizona Diamondbacks still can't fully pass them. It's amazing to me. I thought the Giants was going to be a lot better than the Diamondbacks, but this Diamondbacks team's kind of disappointing, just as much as the Padres are super
Second
disappointing.
Straight year too.
I mean, but it's hard to buy in on what Arizona's doing when they just consistently not put anything together. And you sit there and look at how they went on a generational run to get to the World Series in 2023, but they haven't been anything close to that since.
No, and you look at the roster they have. I mean, they have good guys. Corbin Carroll's fantastic. Ketel Marte as well. I mean, it's just Gabriel Moreno I'd even put in that, but they just cannot.
They have the mix of the veterans, and they got the young guys, and right, they did that. And sometimes it doesn't always work like that. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're talking more about Jake Cronenworth, break down more of last night's game in detail when we come back. We're just getting started on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Summer Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. We are less than a month away from the MLB trade deadline, and this year feels different because there are almost no true sellers. That means contenders are going to have to trade with contenders, and that always drives the price way up. Teams like the Braves, Cubs, Orioles are all hunting frontline pitching. Names like Joe Ryan, Freddie Peralta, Sonny Gray, even Tarek Skubal are floating around the market, but here's the catch. There may not be enough arms to go around. The Padres are right in the middle of it again, tied to big names like Skubal and Ryan, but more realistically, looking at Peralta or Gray as their best path. And the big question heading into August 3rd is simple. Which contender blinks first and overpays to win the deadline? Because this year, the middle class of MLB might decide everything. Now, less than a month away from the August 3rd MLB trade deadline. I think a lot of Padres fans are interested in this about a month ago. I don't know how many Padres fans are as interested in this now after the week that they had.
Yeah, no, it's a week that definitely set the Padres' plans back a little bit. But other than that, I mean, it's still very, very interesting here to say the least.
Let's talk about the contenders and strategy shifts. In the National League East, the Braves are hunting for a Game 2 starter type, someone like Joe Ryan or Freddie Peralta, but that kind of move won't come cheap. Phillies are scrambling after injuries and looking at corner outfield and first base help with names like Joe Adell and Jaron Duran in the mix. Marlins quietly interesting here too, willing to deal pitching for offense with Royce Lewis as a real swing piece target for the Marlins. And in Washington, bullpen help is the priority, and they'll have options everywhere.
And then there's the Mets.
And then there's the Mets.
They're trending towards a soft sell, especially when they can't stabilize their pitching stock. That means that's a team that could quietly shape the deadline if they decide to fully pivot. And I saw a report earlier today coming from Mike Francesa, so take that for what it's worth, that the Mets are actively shopping Francisco Lindor. So that could accelerate this, turn this from a soft sell to a hard sell.
I saw some rumors about the Padres and Lindor, or Padres and Mets swapping big contracts. But if you're the Padres, isn't Lindor's making more than everybody on your team anyway? I don't know how much more of a benefit it would be potentially. Yeah, also, but it could be a change of scenery.
Also, a reminder that Francisco Lindor looked at Fernando Tatis Jr.'s contract and said, "1 more million."
Yes, right.
Literally, $1 million more.
Well, you know what? His contract is a little bit more favorable than a lot of the other ones that the Padres have. But just a quick look. I have to remind myself every time I look at this for a contract swap. Francisco Lindor is making $34.1 million every year until 2032. So if you were to swap that out, you would actually be taking on an additional $9 million in payroll if you did the Xander Bogaerts Lindor trade. And Bogaerts is only 2 years older than Lindor. And so it's not really helping you out. The only one that would make sense is if you swapped Machado and Lindor if you're looking for a contract swap. But even that doesn't make too much sense for either the Mets nor the Padres. So we'll see what happens with Francisco Lindor. Moving on the list to the National League Central and wild card situation. Brewers in a position of strength. They may just need bullpen depth. Milwaukee, more fine-tuning than rebuilding. Cardinals, one of the biggest surprises in baseball, are looking for pitching help, possibly getting Sonny Gray back or going after Robbie Ray. Cubs, though, they are the aggressive team here. They've made it clear they want frontline pitching. Their entire rotation is beat up. Meanwhile, the Reds look like a team that should be selling rather than adding, which is always tough when you're trying to stay relevant in a tight division.
And then there's the Pirates, who aren't even on this list. So it's the NL Central is going to be very, very interesting. The Cubs have already made a trade. They acquired David Peterson after destroying the Mets. Peterson allowed 1 run in Milwaukee and then gave up 10 in his last outing. So you never know what you're going to get with these pitchers. So the Cubs clearly have not found their answer in David Peterson. So guys like Sonny Gray, Robbie Ray out of San Francisco, those are guys I could definitely see moving into the National League Central Division.
National League West, Padres watch. Dodgers are an interesting spot. Obviously, they don't need to make a big move, but history tells you that they always stay involved at the top of the market. Giants are going to sell, most likely. They're floating out the names like Robbie Ray and Luis Arraez. And then there's the Padres. Padres, once again, tied to biggest names in the sport, Skubal, Joe Ryan, but realistically, probably more in the Freddie Peralta, Sonny Gray, Robbie Ray category. And that's, of course, depending
on what they do this
week on the field. And the key question for the Padres is always, aggressive or sustainable. And that to me is the biggest battle that they face every single year.
Yeah, and I mean, now all this, you're bringing in Mason Miller into this conversation now, is possibly getting rid of him. The Padres are going to be the most fascinating team, not just because we're in San Diego, but they are nationally going to be one of the more fascinating teams to watch here in this trade deadline, not because of what AJ Preller can do as far as the big move, but just what are their plans?
They're stuck right now in a tough spot because it's not like a guaranteed sale. It's not a guaranteed buy. It's not, you can go all in. I mean, they're in no man's land right now. Mm-hmm. And Studios, we know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. Setting us over on Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. But what was that update? Justin Verlander's retiring at the end of the year?
Oh, really?
Yeah. What's taking so long?
The 97-year-old is retiring? Who would have thought? After going back to Detroit on a one-year deal, where it all started?
Justin Verlander announces he will retire at the end of the season. 3-time Cy Young Award winner, 2011 AL MVP, 2 times World Series champion, 2011 Triple Crown winner, 10-time All-Star, 2-time ERA title holder. Color me shocked. Hall of Famer? First ballot?
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Yes, 100%.
Absolutely. Justin Verlander's had a great year, a great career, and he'll be calling it quits at the end of the season. Is he able to make? Is he going to be playing in October? Do we think? The Tigers up to
how they're not doing well. Last I saw.
Hey, you know what? Neither were the Cleveland Guardians last year.
That was also 2 months ago. They're 9 games under 500.
Wow.
6.5 out of first place.
You know, I wish. What would we be in that division?
How about them White Sox, though?
Hey, good for the White Sox. I have to say, good for the White Sox. Like, they actually spent a little bit of money this offseason. I thought they did a great. I mean, Will Venable obviously is a good manager. He's gotten a lot out of some of these young players that they have, and you know what? They're young and they're hungry, and they're competing day in and day out. Tigers have won 6-7 though. Watch out. Watch out.
They're coming back.
All right. Padres earned a much-needed 4-1 victory yesterday against Arizona. Obviously, the story isn't simply just ending a losing streak, but the biggest takeaway from last night, we talked about in the first segment, is whether they finally showed signs that the team can make a legitimate second-half run, and they're going to have to do that, right? We talked about some of the numbers in the last segment. If they want to get to 83 wins, which I don't think is enough, they're going to have to win 38 games and play, win 5 more games than they lose. How many wins do you think the Padres need to make the playoffs? Here's the context for you. The final team of the wild card, Frank, last year, 83 wins. Mm-hmm. In the previous 3 seasons, the fewest win totals were 89, 87, and 84. Based on the way that the National League is playing right now, how many wins is the final wild card team? I'm not going to say this team. I'm going to say the final wild card team in the National League. How many wins do they need to get in the playoffs?
I would say at least 86.
I'd say at least 86 too, which means the Padres have to go 41-30 in their next 71 games.
Which is not impossible with the schedule that they have.
It's not crazy. And again, this is why, like, I'm not trying to spew the hopium. Okay? But as bad as the Padres have been, and as bad as they look, and emotions are high, obviously, like yesterday, had a lot of emotions. But it's not like mathematically they're still alive. And this isn't, they're 15 games out of a wild card spot and there's 30 games left. Like mathematically they're still around. That's not this conversation. But they can theoretically, it's not a daunting task for them to make the postseason. But the problem is they need more games like last night and less games like Monday night, where they didn't even look like they showed up on Monday.
Monday night was Italian Heritage Night, too.
You know why? You know why they lost?
I wasn't there.
You weren't there. You didn't get the Vespa hat.
No, I mean, you look at who you have coming out of the All-Star break.
I will say the Italians are taking a lot of L's, man. I mean, we just saw the tennis player. They can't make the World Cup. It's been a long time.
Yeah,
since the Euro Championship just seems like forever ago.
Yep, it does.
You need to find like sad Italian music to play.
That's any music at this point. Coming out of the All-Star break, here's who you have. You have Kansas City at Kansas City, worst team in the American League. That's numbers wise, not just me saying that.
Yeah, they've already played the Angels.
The Braves, who you own. The Marlins. That could be a little tricky. the Rockies, and
let's
then
talk
the
about
Giants.
let's talk about the Marlins for a second. They're hot right now, and they're young, and they're the junior Padres, right? Because they have all the former Padres players. I just I'm curious to see what they do at the trade deadline. Like, I think it'd be catastrophically bad for the Marlins to sell Sandy right now.
Yeah, that's why I said it a month ago. If they're going to make the run, which they're capable of doing, selling Sandy, while smart as far as the future of the team is concerned, is stupid.
It's dumb. I think teams that worry too much about the future over the present are dumb. Like, I don't really care what the Padres 2029 roster currently looks like. I don't care.
And this is the MO. This is the perfect MO for the Marlins too, to make a run. A young team full of good young players making a run with a couple of key veterans. They've won a World Series twice doing that.
I put the Marlins in the Cardinals category of I don't necessarily think they're going to keep it up. And they've won 7 of the last 10. They've won 4 in a row, right? The run differential's plus 25 right now. They're doing really good, but I think eventually they're going to run out of gas.
I would agree with you had they not done what they did at the end of last season. Had they just kind of stayed even keel and not had that big run that they had at the end of last year, I would believe you that they would flame out. With what happened at the end of last year and a lot of the same players on the roster, I 100% believe that they can keep this up. 100% believe it.
The flame out is not just like over time, but it's playing high level baseball the entire season. You could play the mediocre part at the beginning and then get hot at the end and not run out of gas. I don't think they can sustain this for a long period of time. I think this is their little run that they have right now. But I mean, if you could look at the Marlins schedule of what they got coming up, the good news for the Padres, though, you get to play them a lot. Yeah. So you want to make the playoffs? You want to make the playoffs? You're going to have to beat up on the Marlins. And that's not like going to be a walk in the park. You're going to have to do some damage. And we already know the Padres stink in Miami.
And that's where you're going at the end of the month.
You have to take 2 out of 3 there. I mean, looking at the Marlins schedule, they've won 7 last 10. They just lost the series to Colorado. No, they split. They played 4. Never mind. Lost 14-4 in Colorado. Mariners are bad. They got the Mariners and the Guardians this week. They got Milwaukee to start the second half. So that's going to be interesting for Miami. Then they got Houston, who apparently has gotten themselves back into a playoff race. You know, Houston's just one and a half games out of the wild card right now.
Yeah, they're still, I don't trust them being any good.
Do you know they're 2 games back of Seattle? Seattle. I mean, is the winner of the American League West going to have a winning record?
They better.
Because the Mariners are 47-45. The Rangers are 46-45. And the Astros, who are 2 games out, actually have a worse record than the Padres do at 46-48.
I'm surprised the A's, who were doing so well, have fallen off. They got the same record as the Tigers.
Young team. Hard to sustain it. Starting pitching's okay. Go back to the Marlins. So they got the Brewers, the Astros, the Padres, the Phillies, the Mets, the Braves, Angels, Pirates, Reds, Phillies, Nationals, Red Sox, Nationals. Their month of September, Kansas City's not good. They got the Cubs, they got the Mets again, they got the Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Padres, Cubs, Braves to finish the season. That's a stretch right there. You can make
it is a rough.
That's a rough finish. I mean, I think the Diamondbacks are kind of mediocre at best, but they got to go. They got to play. They're going to play the Cubs. This is all post deadline teams too. I mean, the Diamondbacks probably are not going to be that great at that point. Who knows? I don't even think they have anything to sell anyway. But they got to go to the desert late in the year. They got to go to San Diego. But they got Cubs, Mets at home, Dodgers at home. Then they go to Arizona, San Diego, Chicago. And then they finish with Atlanta.
And for the Padres, you have 5 really tough series remaining on the season. You have, after the All-Star break, meaning, you have Milwaukee, Cleveland, Tampa, the Yankees, and then another series against the Dodgers, which at that point is going to be more or less meaningless as far as the division is concerned. But that's really it. Everyone else are teams that you could beat up on. You got San Francisco several times. You have Arizona 3 times. You have Washington. You have Colorado multiple times. You have the Mets. You've got Minnesota. You've got Pittsburgh. And those are teams that you could beat up on.
Yeah, some of them too, like Pittsburgh's playing a lot better, right? Washington's still relatively in contention, but they all have like massive flaws that they're overcoming right now. And I want to get to this later, but the Padres need to jump 5 teams to make the playoffs. That ain't happening. It happened pretty recently. In fact, last year. We're going to talk about the Cleveland Guardians in a little bit. The Cleveland Guardians last year, you start comparing their stats from last year at this time to what the Padres are at this time. I don't think the Padres are going to win the division. I don't think they're going to come close to that. But what I'm saying is it's not like crazy mathematically. But they have to play more consistent like they did last night. We'll explain when we come back. Toyota absolutely owned NASCAR this weekend at Chicagoland. Chase Briscoe beat teammate Christopher Bell in an incredible finish. Joe Gibbs Racing swept the top 3 spots, and Toyota placed 7 cars in the top 10. The first time they've done that in Cup Series history. Meanwhile, Tyler Reddick's championship lead has completely disappeared after another mechanical failure. Denny Hamlin now sits comfortably atop the standings with the playoffs fast approaching. Then there's Shane Van Gisbergen and Austin Hill. Did SVG intentionally wreck Hill as payback for Coronado? NASCAR is reviewing the incident. Penalties could be coming this week. Over in Formula One, Charles Leclerc gave Ferrari its biggest win in months at Silverstone, while George Russell gained ground in the championship after Kimi Antonelli suffered heartbreaking mechanical issues. Across the motorsports world, championship races are tightening, and the drama is only getting started. Before we talk about NASCAR, how about the stock cars at Le Mans over the weekend?
Yes, that was a lot of fun to see a lot of those old cars, ones that I grew up watching and have been watching for years, going around Le Mans. That was absolutely fantastic. The NASCAR Classic, so much fun to see those cars back out on track again.
Yeah, they hit 197 a couple of times. I think Kurt Busch did at least once when he was out there driving at Le Mans. But Toyota took over Chicagoland. The biggest story in motorsports from Chicagoland Speedway. Toyota didn't just win, they completely dominated. And when you think about, first of all, they got all the races in at Chicagoland too, despite the torrential downpour throughout most of the weekend. But we were talking about this in Coronado. I mean, Chevy does not look good with their new cars.
No.
And they haven't been good all year. And Ford isn't anywhere close. And Toyota has just completely dominated the stock car racing. What do the other brands have to do and manufacturers have to do to kind of get back on track? Because Toyota has really taken the lead in this season.
It has mostly to do with the body and the way air flows around it. Toyota has figured that out the best. Chevrolet got a new body this season. It has not worked out for them. It's looking better. William Byron led the most laps at Chicagoland over the course of the weekend. But other than that, I mean, Chevrolet's Cup program has been in absolute shambles this season because they still have not figured out the aerodynamics around this new body and how this new body is makes air and moves it around, and they're getting close. But I mean, it's kind of like in Formula One where you saw the years of Mercedes dominance, you see the years of Red Bull dominance. When something changes and one team has such a wide advantage the way Toyota does over Chevrolet and Ford, it takes another change before that really comes back to center again.
And those are two brands that were dominating the stock cars for years and decades. And Toyota has really, landed a big punch.
And now there's rumors that Dodge might be getting in on the mix as well.
I was going to ask, are they going to bring Dodge back?
Yep.
I was literally about to ask you what happened to Dodge and why aren't they coming back? But
they left because they didn't have enough teams to run it in 2010, I believe it was. They just brought their truck program back this year with the Dodge Ram, and now they're talking about bringing in a Cup car for next season, potentially.
So we talk about Toyota, taking over Chicagoland, but individually, I mean, Chase Briscoe did a good job of holding off his teammate Christopher Bell. They captured the victory, giving Toyota its 12th win in 19 NASCAR Cup Series this season. Briscoe, Bell, Denny Hamlin swept the podium for Joe Gibbs Racing. And, we can talk about Toyota all you want, but those are some of the big, winners this weekend, or should I say, those are the big performances this weekend at Chicagoland, a place they have been in a long time. William Byron led most of the laps for Chevy, but could only manage fourth place. Briscoe definitely boosted him in the standings, now at the 8th in the championship standings, giving him valuable momentum as NASCAR playoffs continue to get closer. What was your biggest takeaway from Chicagoland this weekend?
It's still a very good track. It's still a very fun track. It's changed a lot. I think if they do want to come back, they got to smooth out some of the bumps. There's a nasty bump going into turn 1 that the ARCA cars didn't really have to deal with, that the Xfinity and the Cup cars did. You could see them really bottoming out and having some trouble there. And also in turns 3 and 4, we saw Kyle Larson spin out by going over one of the bumps and bottoming out and losing the back end on one of the bumps. So I think they could diamond grind it down a little bit. I wouldn't change much else other than that. It proved to be a great place for racing, and the two lower series, the ARCA series and the O'Reilly series, put on great shows this weekend. The Cup followed just the same.
Let's talk about SVG and Austin Hill. Austin Hill wiped out SVG and Coronado,
the whole field,
and wiped out all the favorites for the road. All of our guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. We have tickets to give away again?
Yes.
We have tickets to give away to opening day at the racetrack.
Racetrack?
Track? Yeah. They race at this track, Frank. It just is not as loud as the racetracks you're used to.
Oh.
And they go nay instead of room. It's the horse races at Del Mar. We're going to be giving away those tickets later on in the 1 o'clock hour. 833-288-0973. If you want to join the show today, 833-288-0973. Opening day at Del Mar is Friday, July 17th. Tickets include opening day admission and exclusive access to the party, complete with world-class DJs, craft beers, and cocktail bars, photo booths, and private wagering. Tickets at dmtc.com. This event is 21 years or older. It's a fun time at the track. I do know there's a couple of times. There's a lot of people like going to the track. I do know that sometimes our football schedules get changed to have the guys go to the track. Once enough is fine for me. I don't need to go to the racetrack too many times. It's fun though. It's fun to go see the ponies. Plus, it's a great location. Is there any better looking racetrack than Del Mar with the ocean right there, where the surf meets the turf? I don't know if there is, aside from probably the Kentucky Derby, but that's more nostalgic than anything else. Let's talk about the Padre game last night before we talk about the epic run Cleveland went on last year and where they were at this point in time last year. Let's talk about Jake Cronenworth a little bit. I mean, is he finally starting to turn into that offensive piece that this Padres team has desperately needed? I mean, his night perfectly summed up baseball. He was hit in the face by a ground ball during batting practice. You saw that tweet from Kevin AC yesterday?
I did, yes.
Oh, man. I thought this guy cannot get any. I mean, talk about the luck or lack thereof he has received in 2026. Committed an error in the first inning that led to Arizona's only run. People were very upset about that. And you know what he did? He responded with a first inning 3-run homer that ultimately won the game for the Padres. But more importantly, since returning from the concussion IL, you know this because he texted it to me last night, he's looked more like the hitter the Padres expected him to be. And if he can consistently produce to the top or middle of the lineup, all of a sudden, you picked up a bat that you needed. Lengthens the offense that has struggled for most of the season. And why this matters, because the Padres aren't likely adding multiple impact bats before the deadline. Internal improvement has to be part of this solution, and Cronenworth is becoming an everyday offensive contributor, and that it makes a few realistic. It makes it happen. It makes this happen a little bit. Right now, and I know a lot of people don't like hearing about the trade deadline at this point, but when you're looking at what the priorities are for this team, the starting pitching is becoming a more and more glaring need for the Padres than ever before. And so if you have limited resources, what the Padres do have in terms of like what you have to trade, aside from taking on payroll, you have to find ways internally to get better if you want to be competitive in the second half of the season. And Jake Cronenworth is obviously part of that equation, Frank.
Yeah, he certainly is. And he's played offensively, he's played a lot better. And you could tell what the way his approach is. And sure, we had to talk about the swing angle at the beginning of the season, but you can tell that at the beginning of the season, he was playing like a guy who had a problem. Like there was something amiss with him. And now that he's back 100% healthy, ready to go, he hasn't played much this year, so he doesn't have the wear and tear that the other guys do. He's looking fantastic. Again, a little bit shaky on defense, which is interesting to see out of him. But as far as the offense is concerned, he's completely turned that around. He's been a fantastic pick. He's been a fantastic quote unquote pickup for this team over the last week and a half.
Yeah, it's great to see him, get back and going because the Padres need this. They need him to be one of those players because he is one of the players that are his contract is not as large number-wise as the other core part of this team, but he is a core player to this team that signed a contract extension that's under control for a long time. This is the guy that you need to play extremely well because this contract's going to hurt if he doesn't, and it's not going to be one that you can get rid of. So if either you're in the camp of trying to get rid of his contract or in the camp of trying to win games, you need Jake Cronenworth to put together the games that he has been putting together so far since returning from the concussion IL. And he returned from the concussion IL on what, June 29th?
Believe so, yeah.
Right?
So it's been a couple weeks. So
in 9 games and 31 plate appearances, again, small sample size, he's got 2 home runs. He's hitting .310 with an .851 OPS, 6 RBIs. I mean, pretty good numbers for Jake. And honestly, I think it's been a lot better than what I was expecting when he was when it was announced he was coming back off the injury list.
100%. 100%.
You got some signs of life out of the pitching staff, which was arguably the biggest development of the night. Before Wednesday, over the previous 13 games, the rotation ERA was 7.69, 1 quality start. Only twice had a starter gone 5 innings while allowing fewer than 2 runs. And that simply isn't sustainable for a team trying to chase a playoff spot. It's not sustainable. Germán Márquez last night got you 5 innings. The fact that we have to give a round of applause for any Padres starting pitcher to go at least 5 innings is crazy, but that's kind of where we're at right now in Major League Baseball, and the Padres have just like 1 inning short of the usual 6, but at least they made it to 5. That's great. Germán Márquez, 5 innings, 1 run. It was unearned. Obviously, a very encouraging stat line, but even more encouraging, Germán Márquez's fastball velocity was the best it's been all season. He looked healthier after returning from forearm nerve irritation, settled in after a shaky first inning. Padres don't need Márquez to be an ace, obviously, or a top 3 guy in the rotation. They just need him to be dependable. They're looking for dependability out of the starting rotation. And Wednesday was a sign. It was a encouraging sign for the Padres rotation. But as all of the things that we've talked about so far about last night's game, Frank, it's all fun and dandy. We've seen them do this. It needs to be on a more consistent basis, obviously, before you start really writing home about it. But you got to like the way Germán Márquez pitched last night.
No, it was. He had a very, very good performance last night, and especially the way he settled down after the first inning, kind of got away. A very solid night, better than you could have expected out of Germán Márquez. But to me, the bigger outing was Jhony Brito. Has not pitched in the major leagues in over 2 years. Comes back, pitches an inning and inning and 2/3, gets a strikeout, no hits. That is big, especially for a guy who you're hoping can be a starting pitcher, and another guy from that Juan Soto trade that we discussed yesterday as well. As far as who's going to be the future of this pitching staff, that was a very, very encouraging outing from Jhony Brito after missing so much time because of the Tommy John surgery.
I thought he was going to be more of a starter because he was starting down in the minor leagues and getting like a lot of innings.
I think they just wanted to get him in.
Yeah, but they were having him go like 4 innings almost every single time. He was. It wasn't like he was going like 1 or 2 innings. I mean, he was going.
Yeah.
He was getting built up, and that's what I found interesting when they acquired Jhony Brito in the first spot. I mean, he was talked about as a future starting pitcher, and maybe they do that during the offseason right now because they have all these other guys. And I don't know. I mean, Jhony Brito, I thought was. I don't know if he has. I heard that he was out of options, but at the same time, they didn't activate him on the big league roster. They had to like send him down to AAA. So wouldn't that be an option? So I don't know what the details are on that.
Yeah, I believe they did option him.
But I think they're going to try to keep him on the big league team. But he hadn't pitched in the majors since 2024 after his surgery. I mean, he entered with 2 runners on in the 6th inning. He got first pitch, ground ball, double play. It's great. And manager Craig Stammen talked about how significant that outing was. I mean, only a week ago, Márquez was still completing rehab and Brito was still in AAA, and both contributed to a win. I mean, think about the pitchers you used yesterday and were able to only give up 1 run. Very encouraging signs. I like what I saw to Jhony Brito. It's only been 1 outing, right? But he could help this pitching staff out. And that's what the reinforcements potentially coming might decide this season.
And we talk about young controllable arms. That's a young controllable arm for a good amount of time as well in Jhony Brito.
Yes, young controllable arm. I mean, you have to find a way to get Randy Vasquez and Jhony Brito into starting pitchers, I think. I don't think they're going to, I mean, they could trade him, I guess. You know, somebody drops in, like Brito gets called up just in time to be trade bait. I mean, like they could. I just think at this point,
I think you're in such dire need for starting pitching in the future.
You're in such dire need for pitching in general. And who's going to take Jhony Brito? A team that's competing, right? Like it's a team that wants a player. Maybe somebody else, maybe a team that's not competing will take Jhony Brito for a future starter. But where you're at right now with no guarantee that Michael King comes back because he has the opt-out, no guarantee that Nick Pivetta comes back, obviously, not only because of injury, but he can opt out. Don't know if it turns into a player option, a club option. Who knows if the Padres pick it up until you see Joe Musgrove back. I mean, again, no guarantee. The starting rotation next year only has really 3 guys that are guaranteed to be in it next year, or at least have a chance to be in it. And you're looking at guys like J.P. Sears, Joe Musgrove, and Randy Vasquez. There's other names. I mean, you need starting pitching. I can't see the Padres trading Jhony Brito. I really can't. But it was good. It was a good encouraging sign to see how he pitched yesterday. And I do want to get to, and we'll have more time later on in the next hour, but we have updates on Joe Musgrove and Nick Pivetta. And I mean, before we dive into what those updates are, we could briefly mention it. The rotation reinforcements could decide this season. And that's Musgrove and Pivetta. Multiple people around the organization, as reported by Kevin Acee, believe that both pitchers could return sometime in August. Frank, we've talked about this. That's not necessarily a plan, but that could drastically change. That could drastically change what this team looks like come August.
Depends on how well they pitch.
Also,
Absolutely.
That's also a factor.
Especially Joe Musgrove, because he is coming off of Tommy John surgery. He had the 1 outing in spring training and then has been down ever since then when it felt like he was ready to come back. So you definitely cannot rely on those guys for big, important innings. If you get them at this point, fantastic. If you don't, that could be unfortunate. But then again, you don't really lose anything because you're right back where you are now.
I just, the updates that we got about their little bullpen sessions they threw yesterday are very encouraging. But even if, as Frank mentioned, even if they do come back, you need them to pitch at a very high level for it to be an impact. If they come back and they're okay, it doesn't really do anything in terms of the outlook of the season. But the starting pitching market's thin. Padres are looking at a starting pitcher apparently in one of the Mets games. We'll talk about that later on as well. Hour in, Braden Surprenant Show, setting us over at Sports Station 97 through the Fan. 11 o'clock on a Wednesday. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. Standing as number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Sam Flaming in the YouTube chat. This season has been brutal. That has been a walk in the park. I will say that. It's been a lot of the games have been very rough to watch. And the Padres sit right now one game under 500. And they are, through, what is this, 91 games now? They've played 91 games. Through 91 games, they're tied for second place, 14 games out of first, and 4.5 games out of a wild card spot in the National League standings. In the wild card, they have currently 5 teams between them and the final wild card spot in the standings. That's including the Marlins, who are in the final wild card spot. Cardinals have lost 4 straight. They've knocked themselves out of the playoffs. Looks like they're starting to come back down to earth a little bit. Obviously, right now, that's not screaming playoffs, right? Not really screaming playoffs, but I was looking at last year's standings at this point in the year just to see what a difference a year makes, where the Padres are at and everything like that. And something caught my eye about last year's standings. And it was the Cleveland Guardians. The Cleveland Guardians last year at this time through 91 games. So that was July 9th, Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. Through 91 games, the Guardians were 43-48. There were 14.5 games out of first place in the American League Central, and there are 4.5 games out of the wild card. Does that sound familiar, Frank?
A little bit.
They just have they have 2 less wins. They have 2 more losses than wins. They were 5 games under 500. Or 3 games, whatever it was. They were 5 games under 500, 14.5 games out of first place, 4.5 games out of a wild card. They had just won 3 straight. Their run differential was negative 51. Padres' current run differential is negative 47. That sounds very similar. What did that Guardians team do last year? Well, they actually went on a run in which they went 45-26 and not only made the playoffs, but won the division. Now, I don't think you're able to win the division unless you have a colossal mistake. Colossal breakdown, which is exactly what the Detroit Tigers did last year.
The Guardians did unto the Tigers what the Tigers did unto them the year before.
Yes. So, people go, well, the pitching was better. At this point last year for the Guardians pitching, it wasn't that much better. I mean, it was a little bit better, but not that much better. At this point last season, the Guardians pitching staff had thrown 805 innings. The Padres pitching staff has thrown 776 and 2/3 innings. Actually, I do have to update that. But in terms of the individual pitchers, their best pitcher last year was Emmanuel Clase. This is at least 40 innings pitched. He was 4-2, 40 innings pitched with a 3.12 ERA. Luis Ortiz threw 88 and 2/3 innings, had a 4.36 ERA. Logan Allen threw 84 innings, had a 4.07 ERA. Tanner Bybee in 103 and a third innings, 4.35 ERA. Gavin Williams, 5-4, 92 and a third innings pitched, 3.61 ERA. Slade Ciccone through 55 innings, not a lot. Had a 3.44 ERA, and Ben Lively through 44 and 2/3 innings had a 3.22 ERA. Ben Lively and Slade Ciccone, by the way, at the bottom of this list, that only just over 40 innings pitched and 50 innings pitched. Their expected ERAs at this point last year were a 4.66 and a 4.62. The Padres numbers, Michael King, 3.52 ERA. Adrian Morejon, 3.52 ERA. That's kind of surprising. They're both the same. Neither of them, obviously, the closer like Mason Miller, who doesn't qualify on this because we had at least 40 innings pitched. Randy Vasquez, 4.71 ERA, which is high. Ron Marinaccio, 4.81 ERA. Walker Buehler, 5.07 ERA. A lot of the Padres pitching doesn't qualify, but I have a lot of the numbers in front of you, Frank, of what this team was at this point in the season last year. And a lot of it is very similar to what the Padres are this year. Take a look at the offense. The Padres have actually scored more runs than last year's Guardians team. And you look at the averages, team average for the Padres right now, 224 with a 300 on base and a 371 slug for a 671 OPS is actually better than the Cleveland Guardians 224 average, 295 on base, 366 slug, 661 OPS at this point last year.
They're the same team.
They're like the same team. I mean, I have to go through a little bit of the pitching to just update the team pitching stats. But as of right now, you look at the pitching stats for a team, 805 innings, 355 earned runs, 95 home runs that are allowed. The Guardians walked 335 guys up until this point, 767 strikeouts, 3.97 team ERA, 4.12 fielding independent pitching, and their batting average against on balls in play, 299. I mean, you can pick and choose wherever you want, but statistically, this is a team like the Guardians that was not playing well and statistically was not playing well. It wasn't even like they just were not getting lucky. I mean, this was a bad Cleveland Guardians team last year at this time that ripped through the second half of the season. And when you start looking at some of the numbers that they had in the second half of the season, I'll get to that in a second, it's not like they just played at an elite level all the way through.
No, they had a lot of their struggles, and they did have a lot of injuries as well. The biggest thing I noticed here, looking at the ERAs, expected ERAs, the ERAs for the Padres are better. Like the current ERAs are better. You've got some twos in there. There's a 6 in Griffin Canning, but the expected ERAs, a lot of 4s on both. You do have the 2 of Adrian Morejon that's kind of canceled out by the 7 of Randy Vasquez. But other than that, I mean, the Padres ERA overall is higher, but the expected ERAs are roughly the same.
That was the interesting thing too, because for the Guardians, a lot of the guys that have good ERAs, their expecteds were high. So it just tells you like where they were pitching, right? I mean, you start looking at WAR players, their best pitcher, like from a Fangraph WAR, was Class A at this point with a 1. Padres have Michael King with a 1.5 and Morejon with a 1.5. Walker Buehler's got a 1.1 WAR. I mean, even those numbers are better than some of the Guardians at the top. They just have more consistency. Yeah,
they're a lot more evenly spread out. You have Clase at a 1, Ortiz at a 0.9, Allen with a 0.8, Bybee with a 0.7, Williams a 0.6. With the Padres, it's 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1. So there's a big fall off in production out of the qualified pitchers.
I mean, let's look at. I just updated the other numbers here in terms of the team pitching stats, and so the Guardians up until this point last year had thrown 805 innings. The Padres have thrown 803 2/3. The Padres have given up more runs right now than the Guardians.
15 more runs.
15 more runs. Earned runs have been are more too. That 26 more earned runs, 21 more earned runs. Yes. They've given up 4 more home runs. They've actually walked less batters than the Guardians did.
7 less.
They have less strikeouts, but a 4.21 ERA to a 3.97 ERA, 4.24 fielding independent pitching to a 4.12, a 294 batting average on balls in play for the Padres at this point to a 299 for the Guardians. You look at the runs, obviously the Padres have allowed more games to kind of get out of hand. But when you look at ERAs, fielding independent pitching, batting average on balls in play, they're relatively the same. The only thing that I would say leans Cleveland is the team ERA, but it's still just under a 4 team ERA.
Yeah, and even that, I mean, it's the runs have been the biggest issue. This team has given up a lot of runs. They've given up more home runs as well, only 4, but those are 4 that could mean up to 16 runs. So the Padres pitching staff is certainly worse than Cleveland's pitching staff last year, but it's not dramatically worse. It's not like a great pitching staff versus an awful pitching staff. It's 2 kind of middle of the road pitching staffs going up against each other, and the Padres just happen to be worse right now.
How many guys were hurt for the Guardians pitching staff last year? And the Guardians are known to be better pitchers than, I mean, they're an organization that pitches very well.
Mm-hmm.
But what did the Guardians do in the second half? I'll tell you. I already mentioned it before. Not only did they erase the 14.5 games in the division because the Tigers just absolutely fell apart, which the Dodgers will not be doing. So this is not an argument of like, hey, look, the Guardians won the division last year. The Padres can too. Not really. The Guardians went 45-26. Now, they needed to have a better record anyway because they were 5 games, they were 5 games under 500 at this point. The Padres are 1 game under 500. So what they did from an offensive perspective in the second half of the season, or should I say games 92-162, you know what they hit as a team? If you had to guess. I mean, we're talking about a team that was 43-48 and then won 45 of their last 71 games. Their offense was hitting 224 before. What do you think they did in that 45 win out of 71 game stretch?
So 224. Their final average was probably 246.
Their final average. No, I'm talking about like what's their average from game 92-162? What do you think they hit during that stretch?
310.
They hit 228 as a team.
God.
From games 92-162 last year. They hit 228 with a 298 OP on base, a 383 slug. They had a team OPS of that stretch with a 681. They actually finished the season hitting 226 as a ball club.
So they didn't get many hits, but the ones they did get, they made count.
They had 76 home runs, 303 RBIs, right? 310 runs scored. Their batting average on balls in play, 271. All of their numbers were not much better than what they were at the beginning of the year. That's just who they were last year. But okay, well, the offense is never really that great in Cleveland. Well, what did they do from a pitching standpoint? If their team ERA was a 3.97, it obviously needs to be a lot better, and pitching is what wins games and stuff like that. What was their second half numbers for their pitching staff? It was a lot better. I will say it wasn't like the offense. But if you had to get, like, team ERA was a 3.97 through their first 91 games. Games 92-162. What do you think their team ERA was?
3.25.
3.36. It's better. It's not like world beating, right? 3.36 ERA. 3.73 fielding independent pitching over the second half of their season last year.
So basically what you're saying is the Padres basically just have to exist and make everything they do count. And they could make a wild card spot.
Batting average on balls in play for the Guardians in their second half of the season was a 2.73, which is obviously a lot better than a 2.99, whatever it was going in. I mean, obviously their pitching got a lot better in the second half of the season last year. That's where it definitely counts for the Guardians. They went on a great run in that second half. And even then they had a stretch in August, Frank. They had a stretch in August, the Guardians did, where they got swept by Atlanta, lost 2 out of 3 to Arizona, got swept by Texas, and then lost the first game against Tampa. That's like during this incredible run that they had. Now, their month of September was crazy. They went 1-2, or sorry, they lost 2 out of 3 to Boston, and then they won 3 out of 4 against Tampa. They won 3 out of 4 against Kansas City. They swept Chicago, swept Detroit, took 3 out of 4 from Minnesota, then took 2 out of 3 from Detroit, and 2 out of 3 from Texas.
That's wild.
But again, like the Padres wouldn't have to do something that crazy. The Guardians dug themselves into a deeper hole than where the Padres are at right now. And then they dug it even further in August, and they still were able to come out of it. And it's not even like they started hitting. They didn't even hit. Their pitching was slightly better. That was it. Now, it's kind of hard to sell the dream that the Padres pitching staff's going to be drastically better, but if they can play like last night, as we mentioned before. I mean, I didn't even say how many teams the Guardians were chasing. They had 3 teams in front of them in the American League Central because they were in 4th place. Last year, at this time, through 91 games, the Cleveland Guardians, which was on July 9th last year through 91 games, the Cleveland Guardians were 4.5 games out of a wild card spot. They had 6 teams in front of them. The 6th team being the team that's in that wild card spot. The Padres have 5 teams in front of them. I mean, everything's relatively the same between these two organizations from last year to this year. And I'm not saying just because that was the case, it's going to happen for the Padres. But what I'm saying is we forget, first of all, about what other teams are doing all the time. But it's not an impossible thing, and it's not like the Padres have to do something that hasn't been done in 25 years, 30 years. They literally have to do something not even as impressive as a team that did it last year. You could say what you want about like the American League not being as competitive as the National League. The American League actually beat up on the National League at the end of the season.
Yeah, the American
they had
League
a better record
been more
against the National League. They had a better record against the National League at the end of the season. They did. So you fast forward to end of the year last year, which is September 28th, was the last game of the regular season.
Sure.
Guardians won the division at 88-74. Less competitive. The Reds were the last team in the National League last year. Right? I said that. How many wins did they have to get into the final wild card spot? What did we say it was?
84?
83. You're still one off, even if you knew the answer. The Reds got in at 83-79, tied with the Mets. But the Mets lost a tiebreaker. Hopefully that doesn't hurt the Padres. 83-79. The American League final wild card team, 87-75. So, I'm not saying it's easily obtainable. I'm not saying it's going to happen because it happened with the Guardians last year. What I'm saying is you can't just say they got 5 teams in front of them. There's no way they're passing them. There is, and you can look to last year's team. I was comparing the Padres to previous Padres teams, and I didn't realize that it was the Cleveland Guardians all along to show exactly what the Padres have to do. And guess what? The Cleveland Guardians made the playoffs with a negative run differential, -6 at the end of the year. Can you believe how similar these two teams are? It's really remarkable.
It's amazing, yeah.
Now, we'll see what the Padres could do tonight against Arizona, but saying there's a chance. Speaking of chances, what are the chances like for Joe Musgrove and Nick Pivetta to come back? We'll have an update on that when we come back. Every NFL team added someone new this offseason, but a handful of those newcomers could completely reshape the 2026 season. The Bills betting on first-time defensive coordinator Jim Leonard that we talked about on last week's update in the NFL to help reinvent their defense while chasing a Super Bowl. Dallas hopes Christian Parker can turn one of the league's worst defenses into an average one. And with that offense, average might be all that they need. Denver finally gave Bo Nix a game-changing weapon by trading for Jaden Waddle, while the Chargers hired Mike McDaniel with one goal, finally unlocking Justin Herbert in the playoffs. And don't overlook Tennessee, where Brian Dable is trying to revive the career of former number 1 pick Cam Ward. Biggest additions this offseason weren't just star players, they were coaches whose decisions could define the entire NFL season. Every NFL offseason brings new faces, but not every newcomer arrives carrying the weight of a franchise, whether it's a new coach, coordinator, free agent signing, rookie, or trade pickup. These additions could define the 2026 season. And let's start with Arizona. Arizona is obviously a team that has struggled in the past. They have been known to have one of the worst teams in all of sports, worst run teams in all of sports. They got a brand new head coach, Mike LaFleur. Did you see, by the way, did you see the story of this?
No.
About there was the Giants, the New York Giants are hosting the Cardinals at some point in the season. I forget what day it is. And this girl wants to have her dream wedding with her dream suite. And the weekend that she was planning on doing this was a weekend that the Giants were having a home football game. And apparently this hotel is where all the NFL teams stay at. So all the suites are usually reserved for the NFL teams. And so she wrote a letter, an email to Mike LaFleur and like whoever may read it about, hey, I know you guys usually book this suite, yada, yada. You know, it's my dream wedding, all this other stuff. Do you mind if we, make a deal? I'll invite you to the wedding, all this other stuff. It gets to Mike LaFleur. He passes along the owner. The suite that she wants is actually reserved for the owner of the teams that come into play.
Yeah, it's October 4th is when this
and so the owner of the Cardinals released the video after the fact and said, hey, yeah, no problem. You guys can have the suite. I'll stay somewhere else. So that was kind of cool. The Arizona Cardinals to do that, which is kind of a funny little thing. So good for her. She gets her dream wedding, whoever she may be. But I saw it on social media over the weekend. Mike LaFleur, biggest newcomer to Arizona, obviously their head coach. They got a rookie running back in Jeremiah Love. He's going to receive plenty of headlines, but LaFleur is one of the ones responsible for trying to turn this team around. He comes from Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan coaching tree, but he'll have to prove it on his own. He's the brother of Matt LaFleur. I think at this point, I think it's a little tough for Mike to try to turn this organization around. They've been struggling for a long time now. They're not very good from a top standpoint. And I think with the success that Sean McVay has had, all of a sudden anybody that is coached with him, same with Kyle Shanahan, seems to be the young up-and-coming coach, and everybody's trying to find their next Sean McVay. I don't necessarily know if Mike LaFleur is that guy. He could be. But I just think a lot of teams are trying to find their next Sean McVay, and it hasn't worked for a lot of the teams trying to replicate what the Rams have done.
No, absolutely not. And looking at, what these next two teams on the list here, the Bills and the Cowboys, spoke about them last week. They're not looking for a head coach, but looking for defensive with new defensive coordinators in Jim Leonard. Of course, the Buffalo inherits a defense that lost multiple veterans while transitioning away from Sean McDermott. His longtime system, and McDermott is another guy that Buffalo now is trying to replace and try to find their McVay in Buffalo. Dallas, one of the best offenses, one of the worst defenses in the NFL last year. They're trying to hope that looking to hope that Christian Parker kind of sparks that defense along.
I don't want to spend too much time on the coordinators because we talked about that last week. We didn't talk about Mike McDaniel at all. He wasn't part of that group that we talked about last week, but I think it's an interesting hire by Harbaugh to bring in a guy like Mike McDaniel. I mean, Mike McDaniel to me is a good offensive coordinator. I don't think he can be a head coach. I know they had success early in Miami. I feel like he's in the realm of very good coordinator, just doesn't have what it takes to be a coach. I mean, I thought they tried too heavily to just get all these all-stars on offense and go with the receiver route, and they didn't focus on the trenches. The Dolphins had a lot of problems. critical thinking level sometimes, Frank, is it's too much for people. It's just too much for people. Broadcasting live at the Bill House Studios, we know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant, the Braden Surprenant Show, setting us over at Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. I explained the entire reason why we did that exercise. I guess, people might have missed that one part. What I'm saying is, even as bad as this team has played this season, they're still like it's still not impossible for them to make the playoffs. They have to solidify their pitching. They have to get better outings like Germán Márquez did yesterday. They need to get better offensive numbers. But to say that because the Padres have played like this through the first 91 games means they will never amount to anything in the second half, even if the Padres hit the exact same the rest of the way, they could still do it. And you know what you can point to? The Cleveland Guardians last year, who jumped 6 teams in the wild card standings and then did so well in the second half, on top of the fact that the Tigers fell apart, even claimed 14.5 spots and win the division. But here's the thing. It's like, Jimmy Jam, you were on my number one list, and then for some reason you didn't read, and then it's starting to get crazy to me in the YouTube chat. But yeah, they're not in the same division as the Dodgers. That doesn't matter. They did exactly what they needed to do to make a wild card spot. I don't know what's difficult to understand about that, and I'm not saying that's exactly what this Padres team is going to do. But to say there's no path to the playoffs, Frank, is nonsensical, even at this point when they're one game under 500.
No, it's not like you're in a situation like the Mets are in, like the Guardians are in, like the Angels are in. You're not in an impossible situation. It's hard. It's going to take work. But I mean, with that said, it's not impossible. It can be done, and the reason we did what we did last segment is to show that, as you said at the end of the segment, you don't have to do something that hasn't been done in 25, 30, 40, 50 years. You have to do a little bit less than something that was done last year.
The other thing, too, is that's why we laid out the personal stats and the statistics of what they did during those stretches to show that they didn't put up jaw-dropping numbers.
No.
And it's not like they all were turning it on in the second half, right? They started playing better. But the arguments against what our little exercise was, well, they don't have the same team as us. They have young players that are hungry. So they were just, the young guys just were like, you know what, man, I'm really hungry now. I'm going to get after it. Come on. The whole point of the conversation was the Guardians were actually in a worse spot than the Padres were at this time last year. And they were able to...
With a team that performed right about the same.
With the team that was performing the exact same level as the Padres. It's not like they weren't getting lucky in wins and they were playing really good baseball. And then they played slightly better baseball and they made the playoffs. And they jumped 6 teams in the standings. So you're not even asking the Padres to hit 300 in the second half of the season. You're not asking the Padres to have a 2.50 ERA as a team in the second half of the schedule. You just need them to be kind of average, and they can make their way up. This is not a technicality of everybody else is mathematically in it. This is why I say all the time, nobody's no critical thinking involved. Using your brain when you hear some of these things. We have an update on Joe Musgrove and Nick Pivetta. From yesterday. Before the game yesterday, got some encouraging news about Nick Pivetta and Joe Musgrove. Now, relying on them is a hope, okay? That's not necessarily a plan. If you get them, great. You need them to be back, and then you're going to need them to pitch well, which are two totally different things. So, Frank, they have to get to a point where they can physically pitch, and then they have to get to the next point of physically pitching well for it to be an upgrade for this team.
Yes, and it's going to take time for them to start physically pitching as well because they're going to be going through minor league rehab assignments.
Right. They got to get geared up like you would
Yep.
see in spring training. It's a difficult task.
And if they want to do that by the middle of August, they're going to have to start going now, both of them.
So they both threw bullpens yesterday. Joe Musgrove threw his first bullpen session since spring. That's encouraging. Mostly fastballs, around 80% effort, continuing baseball activities. Positive step in the right direction. Nick Pivetta also threw another bullpen, still being cautious. No timetable for Pivetta. And multiple people in Kevin Acey's newsletter, multiple people around the organization reportedly believe that both pitchers could return sometime in August. And with the Padres almost certainly not being able to acquire the amount of pitchers that they need for the starting rotation, with the trade market potentially being thin, every contender needing starting pitching, they realistically need to add an impact starter or at least another arm internally. And this is going to, I think, make or break whether or not they can make a run at this thing, which unfortunately is not the best plan. But the Padres don't really have a lot of choices right now when they need 3 new starting pitchers.
No, they really don't. And Musgrove and Pivetta coming back do give you kind of that boost that you needed. You expected it. We didn't expect these guys realistically to come back until after the All-Star break. Joe Musgrove, definitely. We did not expect to see come back before the All-Star break. So he's kind of on the timetable that at least I expected him to be on. But it's definitely one of those. It's definitely one of those deals where you're in a spot where you kind of have to hope on what you got right now.
You have to at least work with one of them. If you have to rely on both Joe Musgrove and Nick Pivetta, you're in trouble. Because I think you're going to be lucky if one of them comes back and is effective. At that point, you're counting your blessings that things worked out. Did you see the update about, and I got to go double check, did you see the update about who the Padres were watching with the Mets? With the scout, allegedly?
I did not know.
Padres are looking at a starting pitcher, maybe, with the New York Mets. I saw a lot of Padres fans upset about that. Like, no, why are we trying to get better at the deadline? What are we doing?
Who is it, Mania?
I will tell you when we come back. Braden Surprenant Show, Static Number Sports Station, 97 through the Fan. Tune in Monday, July 13th, 6 o'clock, as Bet365 presents Odyssey Sports Midsummer Baseball Showcase Special from Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Although I never really feel that brotherly love when I go to Philly. Like ever.
Nope.
Like ever. Everybody there was so rude when I was there. It was like random people. And it's not even like, I'm not wearing Mets, Braves, not wearing any sports team stuff. Leave for Army, Navy, like everybody was just rude. Everywhere you went, it was just rude.
Yep.
You're like, all right, cool, dude. I know this place is miserable. And you like live in this miserable city, but
welcome to Philly.
Do you have to be as miserable as like the weather? Is that what you have to be?
The best part of Philadelphia is
leaving it?
Yep.
I don't mind the cheesesteaks. What would the no, I don't know. How would I phrase this? The cheesesteaks there are good. They're good. Have you had a cheesesteak from Philly?
Yes.
They're good. What no, I can't. It's too hard of a question to try to involve the cheesesteaks.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm trying to think of something clever. Or you could like kind of like rant about it a little bit, but it's not clever enough. I'll work on it. I'm going to table that.
I'll work on it.
I'm going to work on that during the break. Okay, we had a report from Will Salmon, who is the Mets beat writer, I think. He's the MLB senior writer for The Athletic. He appears as a contributor to SNY. He had a report that multiple MLB scouts and executives said the Mets should end up doing fine on a return for Freddie Peralta at the trade deadline. And it sounds like, according to him, the Padres have scouted Mets Braves series while Freddie Peralta pitched. Whatever that means. So maybe it's Freddie Peralta, Frank. Maybe it's somebody on the Mets or the Braves. Maybe, it doesn't really matter. But Freddie Peralta is a potential piece for this Padres team. According to reports, they got scouts there. The other thing, too, is you have to be... Here's the deal. Regardless if right now they are a buyer or a seller at the deadline, regardless of what you want them to do, they have to do the Padres their due diligence just in case this team rips off 15 wins, right? Mm. It's not likely, but you can't have your organization as a whole just be like, oh, we look really bad. We're 91 games into the season. Let's stop looking at all of these players that we could potentially trade for or whatever. Or, you know what? Maybe sign during the offseason. We're not buyers, so let's stop scouting and let's stop looking at players. And then they win like 10 games. They're like, oh, what do we think about Freddie Peralta? I don't know. We haven't watched him pitch.
Yeah, maybe we should have done some homework. Yeah.
So for anybody that's upset that the Padres had scouts watching Freddie Peralta, just touch grass, dude. Get out. There's great weather outside. I think you got to find some hobbies. I really do. But Freddie Peralta, potentially. The Padres need starting pitching. He's getting $8 million this year. Obviously, with the market that starting pitching is, it's going to cost you some, players potentially. I said it yesterday. I don't want to see Cash Mayfield. I don't want to see Cruz Schoolcraft. And I don't want to see Ethan Salas traded, because you need starting pitching and you've invested so much time in Ethan Salas. If they're able to make some moves to get some starting pitching, that keep those three guys, I'm not going to be super upset about that because the Padres are trying to find ways to get better this season, to win this season. As much as us fans have been like, I don't see how this is possible, that's not going to stop organizations from trying to win, Frank.
No, absolutely not. And this is the perfect, we've said it already. You cannot go out there and take a massive swing for a playoff spot. It does not call for that right now. With the way this team is played, it just does not call for something like that. But you can still help around the margins, which is exactly what a trade for Freddie Peralta would be. It undoubtedly helps your starting rotation based off of where it is right now. But I don't see it being too big of an issue trading for him.
What about this too? I also think that I don't really want to ask this question. I know I'm going to get some super negative answer from you on this. I want you to take your Mets fan hat off for a second. I want you to think about this from a, I don't want to use the term logical. It's kind of really insulting to Mets fans, but I want you to think about this from a business perspective. Are the Mets going to be terrible for the next 5 or 6 years? With the funds that they have, with the players that they have, with the fact that they could flip their roster around very quickly, let's get David Stearns out of this, Frank. With the ownership of the New York Mets and where they have been, where they get.
Don't make me happy.
This is a team don't give
me hope.
This is a team that has resources, right? I mean, to say that they don't would be nonsensical. They have resources. They could flip this thing very quickly in an offseason. I don't consider trading with the Mets to be this team is going full rebuild mode with the roster that they have.
No.
I think you could give a team like the Mets major league players for next year. I think the Mets can treat this trade deadline like a beginning part of their offseason too, which means maybe you can trade a bullpen piece to New York for something else. Maybe you can trade something that's more controllable to New York. I'm just throwing out ideas to make it happen so you don't have to give up young prospects. I mean, this is a Mets team that expects to be, winning, and they had a rough start to the year, and they didn't add up the margins properly with David Stearns during the offseason, but they can make offseason moves now at the trade deadline, and I don't think they need necessarily prospects from single A that's going to help them in the next 5 years. That's not going to help them in the next 5 years.
I don't think I would not put it past David Stearns to think that he probably couldn't do something with Griffin Canning. Saw the way Griffin Canning pitched last year in New York. See, it's not working out here. I could see them trying to finagle something with Griffin Canning. You're going to need to give something else back up. I don't know. I don't know what on the Padres would fit the Mets right now.
Well, the other thing too is the Padres, there's been reports that they're willing to take on money. So obviously the biggest name on there would be a Francisco Lindor.
Which
because of the rumor, I'm going to put rumors, right? The rumors about Lindor and Soto split, but there could be other ones on there that they might take on that might free up some space. I could see them potentially trading for Jake, especially if he hits well over these next couple of weeks. No, I'm talking about the Padres taking on money. Oh, potentially to make it, a contract that they don't like. What would you say? Kodai Senga has not been very good.
Oh, Senga's been so bad.
Maybe you take Senga too and take on some of the money.
I would not even touch Kodai Senga. As a Padre,
would you rather
Padres? I don't want to see Senga
Kodai Senga or give up Cash Mayfield? I'm telling you, these options aren't great. This is why the trade deadline's hard. But if you're going to want to keep the three guys that I said, and I think giving up their young controllable pitching at this deadline to add at the margins would be foolish.
Yeah.
The way around that is taking on payroll. we'll take the rest of Luis Robert Jr.'s contract for him to sit on the IL, or we'll pay off the rest of whatever's contract. And I'm only bringing that up because of the reports that the Padres might be willing to take on payroll, new ownership coming in. I just, there's so many variables that are in this that make it interesting.
The Mets don't have too many big name contracts.
No, they got Bichette, who said he was going to opt out.
Bichette, who's going to opt out.
They got Lindor, who they're not going to trade. Maybe they will. I doubt it. Does he have a full no trade? And if I'm the Padres, that's not a contract I want in terms of payroll.
I mean, the other big guys you have, Kodai Senga is making 15. Devin Williams is making 15. You don't need another back end relief guy. Jorge Polanco, who's had like 10 at bats this season, is making 20 million. Sean Manaea is making 22 million. I think he's got this year and next.
And next. He's got
this year and next. AJ Minter's making 11. Luke Weaver's making 11. Everyone else beyond that is making under 10.
To me would be Kodai Senga, because he's under control for another year. And then if the Mets are just totally done with him, then they could do that.
There's a conditional club option in 2028.
Correct. So you could maybe you can take him as a reclamation project, but that's kind of an expensive one to me. That would be the Mets don't want to pay him anymore, and that would be a way to not have to take on extra money.
The Padres were in on Kodai when he was coming over, so it's not. So they kind of know what he is because they scouted him as he was coming over.
But like, these are the conversations you have to try to make this work at the deadline. And that's like trying to outbid everybody else. There's going to be other teams out there that they're going to have more prospects available to get something like this. And the strategy going in is, okay, let's say you want to add a starting pitcher in Freddie Peralta. You're not going to be able to give them Salas, Mayfield, or Schoolcraft. It doesn't make sense because you're not one pitcher away. How do you make your deal more attractive than what other teams can do? And I think people are starting to realize how difficult that's going to be without doing something kind of drastic. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's kind of probably better to stand pat at the trade deadline than anything else.
I mean, let me see what his stats are this year.
Whose?
You can probably... You might need to take something else a little bit smaller. AJ Minter is a lefty. He's only thrown 17 innings this season because he's been hurt. And he's got a player. He took his player option this year. He's making 11 million this year. So maybe you could take a guy like AJ Minter to kind of bolster up that bullpen that's been completely just annihilated this season. But other than that, I mean, annihilated by workload. Minter's a relatively fresh arm on a big contract.
I mean, he's a free agent at the end of the year.
He is.
So
it would be a loan.
Yeah, does that help the Mets? He's gonna leave at the end of the year anyway.
He's one of the guys that they're looking to trade as well.
Right. I'm
looking at it from a Padres standpoint. Is okay. We've used these relievers a lot this year, and Minter's a solid guy who's got money on him that is still relatively fresh because he's coming off of injury. That's the way. I'm not even looking at it from a Met perspective. I'm looking at it from a Padre perspective.
Oh, to go with just Minter or Minter and Peralta?
Well, Minter and Peralta.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Well, instead of trying
you would have to take someone else. Yeah.
Right? I mean, now it's making it even more difficult because that's a valuable trade that the Mets could send somewhere else that actually has probably prospect closer to the big leagues, maybe. It's going to be an interesting trade deadline. It really is. I mean, we don't have time to get to our sports thread now. We're going to do that to start the noon hour. But, I mean, these are like, to me, some of the conversations that are probably going on. And, you know, if AJ really wants to add to this team, he's going to have to get creative because I already can see it. I mean, we get to August 2nd, August 3rd on the show, and the Padres are like 2 games out of a wild card spot. And all of a sudden, it's like Cash Mayfield and Cruz Schoolcraft are on their way out, and it's like, here's Kodai Senga. Or sorry, here's Freddie Peralta. And that's it. Like that. And you're like, okay.
There's
the amount of phone calls we're going to get is crazy. I can't imagine them doing something like that at this point. That would be the downside of buying that I'm against, is trying to make a splash.
the benefits of getting Kodai Senga, of trading for Kodai Senga, is he's going to be in the rotation next year. So that's one of your rotation spots filled out. We've seen that he can be a top of the rotation guy. He does have that potential. He also has a club option after next year. So if it doesn't work out next year, you can get rid of him and you don't have to eat that last $15 million. Give him an off season, give him the start of the end of this season and all of off season to work with Ruben Niebla. That's where you can understand taking on Kodai Senga. If you're going based off his performance this year, it's not great. But if you look at it for next year, it's another Walker Buehler. Effectively, it just costs more money.
I think the only reason, the Senga thing was just to, like, if the Mets really don't want him anymore and just want to get the contract off the books, then I think that's a way, an avenue for the Padres if they don't want to give up their top prospects. And I think that's going to be the case for a lot of the trades that they potentially make, is adding payroll and make it a problem for the offseason, I guess. But even the offseason, you don't even know how long of a window you're going to have.
Yeah, and to what Go Aztec said, do you know that he is he's a pitcher. He's a starting pitcher. He's been moved to the bullpen because he's not been good this year. It is hard watching him pitch this year. But from everything that we've heard, at least that I've heard, and Ron Darling, lucky enough to have a World Series winning pitcher on the broadcast for the Mets, Ron Darling has said that every time he looks at him, he is so in his own head. The second he makes a mistake, he just compiles it and compiles it and compiles it because he's thinking too much. So it's not like a mechanical issue. It's not like he's hurt and they're not fixing it. He has a mental block. And no, he's not good. But as you said, if you want to get Freddie Peralta and not give up your top prospects, it's going to be an avenue you have to look at.
We'll keep talking about that, obviously, when we come back. There's other stuff going on in sports, our sports thread.
This is San Diego sports. The wins, the losses, the moments that matter, and the opinions that come with them.
Padres have clinched the playoffs in back-to-back seasons for the first time since 05 and 06.
No hype, no filter. Just the truth about your teams, your city, and the people who care about it most.
The reality is the expectations are higher now for this club than they were in 2019 and 2020 when the Padres hadn't made the playoffs that many times.
He's been here. He knows this city. And now he's leading the conversation every single day. Live and local on 97.3 The Fan.
This is fun. We're doing this for fun. This is fun. Have fun. Enjoy the fun with us having fun.
Now, here's Braden Surprenant.
New lunchtime hour on The Fan. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. A lot of baseball coverage today on The Fan. It's presented by Xfinity. Score the most reliable Wi-Fi. What price? 5 years guaranteed. Xfinity. Imagine that. Before we move any further into baseball talk, let's discuss what's going on in sports. Today's sports thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, Frank, what we got going on in the sports world today?
The NFL's funny, especially during the offseason.
Number 1.
Brandon Ayuk
Oh, my God.
continues to fuel speculation about his potential move to the Washington Commanders, because remember, that's where he wants to go. That's all he wants to do.
Yeah, that's where he wants to go.
But his latest social media activity has raised questions, has raised just as many questions as it has excitement. While teasing a reunion with former college teammate Jaden Daniels, Ayuk also took public shots at the 49ers organization and exchanged playful jabs with Daniels online. Washington has reportedly viewed Ayuk as a possible fit if he becomes available, but his recent comments would make the team think could make the team think twice about whether the talent outweighs the off-field drama, saying stuff like, if you're going to come in and tell me, like, hey, you're on my team now, you play by my rules, you're going to have to say it behind your mama. And then maybe I'll listen to you.
Oh, boy.
If you're an NFL general manager, how much should a player's social media behavior factor into your decision to sign him if the talent is undeniable?
It should factor if you want to run a good organization.
100%.
That's where I'm at. I mean, at this point, Brandon Ayuk is burning every single bridge that he possibly can, and I don't even know why he's doing it. He's not even that great of a player. Not to say that if you're a great player, you could do things like this, but there are consequences to your dumb actions.
He's going full Antonio Brown right now.
I don't know what he's doing. I really don't. I mean, like, why would anybody be like, you know what, man? I really want Brandon Ayuk on my team. Like, calling Jaden Daniels a mama's boy is probably not the right approach to trying to get on that team and have Jaden Daniels throw you the rock for like a middle of the road receiver.
But they were teammates. They're joking. Ha ha. Hardy har.
Hardy har har. Coming from the agent of Brandon Ayuk, who just saw a bunch of money just leave the door. Hardy har har. We were just kidding, right?
Antonio Ayuk. Love to see it. That's what he's doing.
You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. I mean, it's that stuff matters. And the other thing too, a lot of people, we talked about club sports yesterday, which is also a joke. If you think parents, I got to say this too, because I see a lot of them out there. Parents, if you think you are not getting evaluated when colleges are coming around to scout, I got bad news for you. Your kid could also not be getting a scholarship because you and your actions Think about that.
Mm-hmm. It's fun.
A lot of organizations and teams do not want to deal with headaches.
It's awesome.
Don't be an extra headache.
So much fun.
Number 2.
One of baseball's most entertaining moments moments of the week came when Brewers star Jackson Chourio stepped into the batter's box left-handed last night during a blowout win over the Cardinals, all because of a dugout dare. Jackson Chourio, noted not switch hitter, he's a right-handed hitter, faced a position player throwing eephus pitches. Chourio nearly launched a home run in his first ever MLB at-bat from the left side, proving his athleticism while giving fans a memorable highlight. It was a fun moment that underscored baseball's lighter side during an otherwise lopsided game. Should players embrace moments like this in blowouts to entertain fans, or does switching sides and having fun cross the line of baseball's unwritten rules?
All right, so we're talking about
It was a fly out to center, by the way, was what he had.
I don't think the result really matters.
No, I'm just saying.
Okay, so we're talking about Chourio decided about left-handed in the last inning.
He was dared to bat left-handed.
This is like men's softball at this point. I mean, it happens a lot. You're up big on a team. It's like, let's just hit from the other side. I mean, it's funny. I guess it's cool, but
what's the point of playing at that point?
That's what I'm saying. Like this is the mockery that Major League Baseball has made of themselves by allowing position players to pitch. And it's not like here's the thing. It's not like the position players are out there like throwing the ball. And like just like, hey, like we just want him to pitch and he's out there pitching. The whole like men's softball lob to get to the just end the game, but they don't want to do that because of stats. They don't want to do that because of like, they don't want to end the game early because of money. And it's like now you're thinking about, people might want to refund, whatever. Eliminate position players pitching. It was funny at first when it happened once in a millennium. But now it happens all the time, and it's strategic to not burn your bullpen. It's stupid.
I Need Money's idea. Anytime a pitcher comes in to hit, everyone has to bat on their offside.
Yeah. If we're going to make it stupid, make it a mockery. You can't justify this. It's stupid.
If you're a switch hitter, you have to bat with the bat upside down.
You should have your batting helmet backwards. I mean, what are we doing? I am so anti-position player pitching. I am. I think it's dumb. Then put in a mercy rule. They would never do that. I mean, that's essentially what it is. I mean, if you put in a mercy rule and you only get 7 innings when you paid for a game, but like you're going to go out there and watch position players pitch, I mean, it's basically the same thing.
No, but I do legitimately like that. Having the hitters hit on their offside. I really do like that.
Number 3.
I agree with Travis Nobe. Yeah, Ohtani shouldn't pitch.
Yeah,
I
true.
agree. Ohtani shouldn't pitch.
You knocked some runs around on him this week, though. Portugal's World Cup run came to a heartbreaking end with a 1-0 loss to Spain, and head coach Roberto Martinez confirmed afterwards that he is stepping down following the tournament. Martinez defended both his team's performance and his decision to leave Cristiano Ronaldo on the field for the full 90 minutes, insisting Portugal didn't fail despite another disappointing exit. The loss also marks the end of Ronaldo's World Cup career, closing a chapter on one of soccer's all-time great international careers. Did Roberto Martinez make the right call by keeping Cristiano on the field, or was it time to turn it over to the next generation in Portugal's biggest match?
I think he left him out there when the team they were already losing, right? Or is it okay? Honestly, I think Cristiano Ronaldo has earned that right.
100%.
And if he wanted to keep playing, he gets to keep playing.
Mm-hmm. And with everything that's been coming out about Portugal and how Ronaldo's basically the one running the team, that doesn't surprise me at all that he stayed out.
If he wants to continue to play, it's his last time playing for his country, whatever, go ahead. If you didn't want to be in that situation, you could have played better for like the other guys. I have no problem with this. It's just his last time he's going to represent the country in the World Cup. I don't think it would have made a difference anyway in the outcome of the game. Let him finish it out, and you'll have your time in the next 4 years.
Yeah,
Number 4.
I mean, Ronaldo's one of the greatest players to ever play the game, period.
Yeah.
You leave him out there. One last chance to win the Iberia Bowl. Nikola Jokic made it clear he wants to spend the rest of his career with the Denver Nuggets, but he is planning on waiting another year before signing a contract extension. By delaying the deal, Jokic could become eligible for a 5-year contract worth nearly $360 million, the largest contract in NBA history. While Denver has had a quiet offseason, the franchise cornerstone's commitment should reassure Nuggets fans as the team looks to return to championship contention. If you are the Nuggets, do you worry at all about Jokic waiting to sign, or is his public commitment enough to put concerns to rest?
I think his public commitment is fine because Jokic is a guy that he's like the guy that after they won, they like couldn't wait to go home.
Yeah.
He just like wants to chill at home. He's not like he does it for a job. If he says he's going to come back, he's going to come back. I'll take that. Doesn't want to like worry about signing too early. He's going to do it on his own terms when he wants to. He's going to go do his stuff in Serbia or wherever the heck he's from, where he wants to hang out. And when he comes back, he'll be ready to go.
He wants the money as well, because if he's saying he wants to wait another year because he can get more money out of a max deal, then yeah, I understand that. That's him calling his shot. And he doesn't strike me as a LeBron type who's going to like do this for entertainment and eyes on me kind of thing. I think he said what he meant, and that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, maybe it's taking a little bit more time than Nuggets fans want, but the NBA offseason's crazy.
Yeah,
never know.
Always is.
Number 5.
The Toronto Maple Leafs have officially signed number 1 overall pick Gavin McKenna to his 3-year entry-level contract, putting one of hockey's brightest young stars on track to make an immediate NHL impact. After dominating at Penn State and previously starring in the WHL, McKenna enters training camp with expectations of becoming a key piece of Toronto's offense right away. The Maple Leafs are hoping the 18-year-old can help push a talented roster over the hump and finally end the franchise's long Stanley Cup drought. Is it fair to expect Gavin McKenna to make an immediate impact in Toronto, or are the Maple Leafs putting too much pressure on an 18-year-old to finally hoist the cup for the first time since 1967?
I don't think it's necessarily fair to put those expectations on. He's going to have expectations because of the fact that he's a first-round draft pick, but I think always with young players, you got to let them kind of learn on the fly, kind of let them get into their own. I think that's the best way to set these guys up for success. In Major League in baseball, you don't want to bring guys up too early. In football, like quarterbacks, especially important positions, you don't want to just throw them to the wolves. You got to like let them play under somebody to learn. I mean, this is going to be a massive adjustment for him coming from college to the pros. All of these level jumps are big. You can't expect him to be like legit from the get-go. If he is, great, but you got to let that play out on its own. He will be ready when he is ready. But if they expect him to go out there and carry this team, I don't necessarily know if they are setting this kid up for success.
If there is one sport, though, where that does happen more often than not with a kid who has as much expectation around him, it's the NHL. Hockey is the sport for sure. You saw this type of hype around Sidney Crosby. You saw this type of hype around Connor McDavid, around Austin Matthews, who was the last Leafs number 1 overall pick. You saw it around John Tavares when he was taken number 1 overall by the Islanders. So if there's and they've all hit big. So if there's one sport where I would believe it over others, it would be hockey. It would be the NHL. But the Maple Leafs have been an interesting case over the last couple of years. They've had stars, Mitch Marner. They've had William Nylander. They have fumbled the bag at every turn. So whether or not the expectations are realistic, and then there's the Leafs.
Did you, I think I sent it to you. I wonder if you could track it down on social media. The Deion Sanders question that he got at Big Cold Media Days yesterday.
Yes.
And then the other one with the Texas Tech reporter. We have a little bit of time here, and I know like This is not about the Big 12 media days. This is more about just the chaos of yesterday at the Big 12 media days.
While I'm looking for that,
they have the two of them. They have the Texas Tech reporter that is just ridiculous, and then the Dion just throwing shade at the Athletic.
Did for the NCAA 27 thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got that one. Also the insane story about the Paraguayan senator as well.
Yeah,
that hasn't gone away, folks.
She doubled down on that, and then and now is the victim.
Yeah. So what happened there was the comments that were made by the Paraguayan senator. We will not repeat those on air. France, the French soccer committee, the French Football Federation, and Kylian Mbappe called her. What in the heck? What was the exact term that they used? They said that she doesn't deserve her office, more or less, is what despicable and unworthy of her office. After hearing that, she sent out a reply that basically boils down to, I made a stupid comment in the heat of the moment, felt bad about it later, and then deleted the post.
So therefore she's off the hook.
Now it's your turn.
Yeah, okay.
Because you don't know me, and you don't know who I am.
What a world she thinks she lives in.
That's unbelievable. Okay, here's Dion about
he's being asked this by a member of the Athletic. What's his name?
I do not know.
It's like, I think I read his little badge. I think it was like Chris Williams or something like that.
Asking why he's not in the college football 27 game, which comes out tomorrow.
David Ubben with The Athletic. A few of the coaches in college football are not in the video game. You're one of them. I was curious why that was and what went into that decision.
I don't know about the video games. I have a wonderful team that handles a lot of business for me. If I'm not in the game, that means they weren't paying enough. It probably didn't fit where we're going right now. That's probably it. It was probably that simplistic. Thank you, Athletic. You guys do a wonderful job. You know I'm lying, right? Next.
He tries to take a jab at like the Athletic with the sarcastic, you're doing a wonderful job. And then nobody laughs at his joke because it's kind of awkward. And then he awkwardly laughs at his own joke. And then he had to say, I'm kidding, right? It's like, that was after kind of the arrogance of
Thanks for explaining jokes.
The money didn't line up, which, by the way, I'm perfectly okay with that answer. He's got his own, he's running his own brand. He's got the Dion brand, right? They asked like, hey, you want to be in the game for this amount of money? If it's not worth it for him money-wise or to his team that he pays to do that, hey, fair enough. It's not enough money for me. Does he need to be in the game? Probably not. But then the jab at the end was like, honestly, I don't think that's that crazy of a question in this day and age of college football where you have the video game. A lot of the fans play the video game, and a lot of people want to know why certain coaches and players opt out of said video game. Not a bad question. His response to the joke was hilarious. Nothing was funnier or more awkward than you have this one.
I do. Do you want to wait next segment so you can really go off on? Okay.
This guy, the Texas Tech media guy, we'll discuss when we come back.
One victory lane, climbing out of the truck. Make some noise one more time for your race winner of the Navy 250, Wayne Ray.
Broadcasting live at the Bill House Studios. We know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. Static Summer Sports Station 97.3. The Fan. Need a contestant for a midday sports stand-up. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. If you could call in, take me down in some trivia, you'll be qualified for a chance at our grand prize, a 2-night stay at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, and a $150 food and beverage credit. Oasis Pool Deck at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas has officially opened for the season, offering a 6-acre elevated pool experience with 6 distinct pools and a live beach. Enter to win a 2-night stay at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, and a $150 food and beverage credit. To book your stay, visit FontainebleauLasVegas.com now. All right, we went to break talking about some of the highlights of the Big 12 media days, which is hilarious. There was a lot of good things coming out of those media days. Not that we care about, individually how those teams are going to do season-wise out there in the Big 12. We would do more coverage of the Pac-12 media days if they existed. That's like, what is that, like the Fairly Odd Parents? Yeah. Here's where I'd put my trophy. If I had one. Here's where I'd have my media day. If I had one. Pac-12 not doing a media day is kind of a miss. Is it a miss? I think it's kind of a miss.
Yeah, it's not giving off power conference.
No,
guys.
it's
I'm
not.
sorry.
It's not giving off power conference vibes.
Not
No, it is not.
It's not giving off power conference.
No, it is not. Catch their games in the CW. I will say they have done some good things, but not having a media day is rough because you know who's getting a lot of coverage right now? The Big 12. Why? Because it's the Monster Energy Big 12 Conference now. Every time I've seen that logo, I'm thinking it's a Supercross event. Literally every time. I'm like, when's Sonny Dykes getting a Supercross? I will say this, the Big 12, I like Brett Yormark as a commissioner of a conference that my school is in. But I will say a big swing and a miss was on the Monster Energy deal. Did you hear about this deal?
No.
It's the Monster Energy Big 12 conference now. They're going to play the Monster Energy Big 12 championships. Every team's going to have the Monster logo on it. Is the BYU one going to say caffeine free? I mean, how do you... The BYU one's going to be a little weird, in my opinion. Really? They don't drink caffeine. How can you have an energy drink sponsor on their jerseys?
You can get creative with this if you're the Big 12. Because, TCU, what are their colors?
Purple.
Exactly.
Gray.
So purple
White.
is... So purple for Monster Energy drink, you don't have to have them have the Monster Energy logo on it. You can have them have the Monster Energy Ultraviolet logo on there.
I have no qualms about having to put the logo on there. But here, listen to this. This is what makes the deal dumb. So Monster Energy, I'm pretty sure, gets their logo on the courts for the Big 12 championships. I think they get on the field for the Big 12 football game. All of men's, women's basketball, and all Big 12 football teams must have the Monster logo on their logo, on their jersey as a jersey patch, which I don't know how BYU approved this either with the caffeine thing. They've nixed a lot of the alcohol ones too. They have a Mormon code of conduct, and that's kind of not part of it. That's why they drink dirty sodas.
Could you imagine if all of them had their jerseys look like the cans?
That'd be cool. But the contract,
that'd be cool.
But this is what makes the contract dumb. It's $20 million total.
Okay.
So every school gets $1.2 million. That's a lot of coverage for $1.2 million a school. Are you kidding me? That should be like $100 million. What? Monster's yeah, great. This is less than we have to spend on the Supercross or any NASCAR event.
Yeah, no kidding.
1.2 a school for that?
For a company like Monster, who
right,
is
that's just writing checks. There's writing checks. I really hope Monster Energy comes out with a dirty soda, just for BYU's sake. Can they opt out of that?
I want to see what all the uniforms look like. It's cans now. The sugar-free cans.
Okay, so the last thing that came out of Big 12 Media Days, and they're again continuing today. It's just such a dumb question by a person that covers Texas Tech.
Texas Tech media personality Sean Dillon.
Media personality. So he's not even a reporter. He's just like a talking head. Media personality?
That's how it is labeled here. Texas Tech media personality Sean Dillon.
All right. Here's his question for Brett Yormark, thinking that the Big 12 targets Texas Tech.
Sean Dillon, Rocket Brigade. Commission, Texas Tech got fined over tortillas, and tortillas were banned outright. OSU paddles broke an always maker rule, has a tradition exemption. Sorsby never played a snap for the Red Raiders. Big 12 sued them anyway, while Cincinnati hasn't been yet touched. You're selling greater than 12. Why should Texas Tech fans believe it?
Can you sit? Let me come closer to you. Stand up. Ask that question again, and I'm going to give you the answer I want to give you. So go ahead.
Texas Tech got fined for tortillas, and tortillas were banned outright.
How hard is it to say tortilla?
Right. Was that the end of the clip?
No.
Okay.
OSU has had paddles that were given a noisemaker exemption back in 2012. Sorsby never played a snap for the Red Raiders, and yet there's a lawsuit. Cincinnati has yet to be touched. You're selling greater than 12. Why should Texas Tech fans believe them?
No, I didn't say greater than 12. You misquoted me. I said we're going forward as 16 strong, and that's my answer to your question. But thank you for that question. Appreciate it.
It completely disregards everything else.
What is he trying to do with that? I mean, come on. By the way, the conference has looked now. The NCAA is starting to look into Cincinnati for the Braden Surprenant situation. I mean, the noisemakers for Oklahoma State gets an exemption. You know what they're not doing with those paddles, which, by the way, are incredibly annoying because I have, when I travel with the team, that stuff just it is annoying. But you know what they don't do with those paddles, Frank?
Throw them on the field?
Throw them on the field. I don't know. You probably can't just throw tortillas on the field anymore.
He
cannot say tortilla. How do you cover the Texas Tech Red Raiders, who are notoriously known for throwing tortillas at their opponents?
To be fair.
You
had a hard time saying Red Raiders also.
Yeah. Media personality? What did they call them?
That's some pregame show is what he said.
He hosts a pregame show and he can't say tortilla?
Well, some pregame show. I don't know if it's affiliated or not.
He was nervous to ask the question because he knew Brett was just going to yell at him. And by the way, the other thing too, he's sitting down, he's asked the question. He was supposed to stand up, say his name, where he's from, right? He didn't do at least the stand up. I don't know if he said his name or where he was from.
He said his name and where he was from at the beginning. Yes.
And so Brett Yormark's like, "Oh, stand up, repeat the question, and I will give you the answer I want to give you." You can't have. This is why you can't have. This is the separation, Frank, of work and fandom. This is why you can't have some of these new media members that treat it like they're just a fan of the team. You get stuff like this.
And
I like a lot of the new media stuff, but as long as you are separating the fan from the coverage, you can't be. I mean, that is a ridiculous question. It was in a ridiculous try to get you, and it just made Texas Tech look even worse. They are on a generational run of turning into exactly what they hated, and that is burnt orange.
I mean,
when did Texas Tech turn into burnt orange?
I mean, and it's also just the fact of why hasn't Cincinnati? Because it wasn't known when he was playing under Cincinnati. It wasn't readily known that Sorsby was betting on his teams. It wasn't. Now as you said, they're investigating Cincinnati, but they're not investigating. Where did Sorsby stay? They're not investigating Indiana.
No.
They're not investigating them. You're the one, Texas Tech, you are the one that stuck their
doubled
neck
down.
out for him. You're the one that started lawsuits for him. You, not Cincinnati, not Indiana. They were both like, well, that kind of stinks, doesn't it? You were the one that went, oh, well, no, this is our guy. He's got to play. He has to play.
Why is everybody picking on Texas Tech? Why are you guys picking on us? Why do you guys hate us? They want to be what they've hated for so long. They think after making one college football playoff where they got absolutely blown out of the water by Oregon, they now think they're the Texas Longhorns of the Big 12 again. Give me a break.
And it only took Texas leaving.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden Texas Tech's like, we're Texas Tech, and give me a break.
We're the big dog in the yard.
Yeah,
no,
sure you are.
Yeah.
Sure you are, dude.
No, we're the big dog in the yard, and actually we're leaving the yard. Ha! I beat the big dog in the yard. I'm the big dog again. No, the big dog left.
Yeah. By the way, you're not even the biggest dog in the yard anymore because only one of the schools in that conference has won a playoff game. Just saying.
One of them's been to a national championship.
That's right. I did. Did they play in the national championship? No, but they were there. What they threw on the field, I would not really consider playing. I use that as a loose term. They look like the Mets.
They attended.
They look like the Mets in that game.
They were.
Yeah, they were there. They were in attendance. They watched a Georgia football team play really good against Air. That was like 11-0. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. We need a contestant for a midday sports stand-up when we come back. Braden Surprenant Show, Standing Room Sports Station 97.3 The Fan.
Ben and Woods on the Fan.
And he drove up. We met at Randy's Donuts on Friday, and he dropped off Mason Miller bobbleheads for me. So I just thought that was so kind.
The FIFA World Cup just changed the future of college football. The expanded 48-team World Cup has been one of the biggest success stories in sports this year, with underdogs making deep runs and fans loving the added drama. Now the Big Ten wants the college football playoff to grow from 12 teams to 24, arguing more schools deserve a shot at the national title. But here's the problem. College football isn't soccer. A bigger playoff could make the regular season less meaningful and likely just add more SEC and Big Ten teams instead of a true Cinderella program. Should college football expand to 24 teams? Consider the college football playoff expanded 24 teams, or is bigger not always better? One of the biggest debates in college athletics this week has nothing to do with NIL, conference realignment, or recruiting. Instead, it's all about the future of the college football playoff. Expanded 48-team FIFA World Cup is delivering thrilling upsets and Cinderella stories, and many are asking if college football should follow suit by expanding the college football playoff from 12 teams to 24. Big Ten is leading the charge. Several conferences support the idea, but the SEC isn't sold. So has the World Cup actually proven that bigger is better? I want to talk about this from a lot of different angles. First of all, I view all of these decisions the same way I do with Major League Baseball and their current negotiations. I don't care who makes more money out of this. I want what is best for college football as a fan of what I want to consume as a college football fan. And what I would like to consume is an even playing field. Oh, almost like what I want to consume in Major League Baseball. And in order to do that, I think one of the things that you have to do is make sure the playoff is accessible to everybody when the season starts. I think that's eventually going to spread NIL out. I think that's eventually going to spread contracts out. I think it's better for the sport when you think about it as a whole. And what happens is as these things progress, as you mentioned on NCAA 27, the video game with NIL, as you get better, you get more money infused into the program. And when you have access for everybody to make the playoff, all of a sudden you get more money with TV contracts. You get more exposure. You're starting to get better players. And so when you sit there and go, North Texas has no business playing Alabama. Well, if they start to get the funding and they start playing better, all of a sudden the logo to you might recognize as not good might start to change based on the access, which I think eventually changes things. Now, when you look at this, the Big Ten wants to change the playoff because of the contract that is involved with the college football playoff of if it expands to 24 teams, or I think it's 16 to 24, whatever it means, because they're at 12 right now. ESPN then has to give up the contract and it has to be rebid for who televises the games. Big Ten has a contract with Fox. So again, I don't care who makes money. I don't know what the incentive is. That is what I'm looking for. And the SEC says no because they're not saying no because they don't think it's good for college football. They're saying no because it exposes them and they don't get to be the top dog anymore. So with all that being said, I think the 2014 playoff is the way to go for college football. I think it'd be best for college football. I don't think it really, it doesn't eliminate the importance of the regular season. And I think you can use the FIFA World Cup as a guide of like, look how fun this game is with Cape Verde hanging with Spain and tying them in pool play. What about Cape Verde playing the world champion Argentina from the last time they played the World Cup, and they were within seconds of knocking them off? You could point to a lot of upsets that have happened in the FIFA World Cup, and I get it's different between soccer and football, but Frank, I think FIFA has really paved the path for college football to look at this and be like, you know what, maybe expanding to 24 teams is great for the sport.
Yeah, and that's what FIFA announced, that it was going to increase from 32 teams to 48. Many expected blowouts, just more blowouts, less competitive play. And it's been the exact opposite. As you mentioned, Cape Verde, we've had incredible matchups all throughout the FIFA World Cup. And I think you can also go back to the last year's playoff. Now, Tulane and James Madison didn't win. They didn't win their games. But man, they gave their opponents a run. I forget who each one of them played, but
Ole Miss and Oregon.
Those were close games right up until the very end. They put the other teams on watch. They put Ole Miss and Oregon on notice.
They definitely both punched them in the mouth early in the contest that show that they can hang. And what happens is, you know, if they had the same funding or if they had the same access or years of like that, you know, years of making the tournament and getting those playoff checks, they could eventually build to that point where it looks more even. But you're right, Frank. I mean, it's not the huge blowouts that you think you would see. In fact, when you see those blowouts, it's usually Power 4 teams going against each other.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. So when you add these teams in, it's not that, oh, we're diluting this. We're diluting this tournament. We're forget about the regular season for a second. But the way this World Cup has played out, where you have teams like Cape Verde,
we are now in a position to play our midday sports standoff. Try to get somebody qualified for a chance at our grand prize, a 2-night stay at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, and a $150 food and beverage credit. Oasis Pool Deck at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas is officially open for the season, offering a 6-acre elevated pool experience with 6 distinct pools and beach. Enter to win a 2-night stay at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, and a $150 food and beverage credit. To book your stay, visit FontainebleauLasVegas.com now. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, it's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frank, who's playing today?
we have John in Carlsbad playing today. John, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing well, boys. How are you guys?
Good, good. So the All-Star starters were announced over the course of this week. No lineups, no starting pitchers. But the question today is, who are the starting 9 for the National League in the All-Star game this year? John, you have the first guess.
I'll go with Freddie Freeman.
Starting first baseman.
Shohei Ohtani, DH.
Starting DH.
No, Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts is not a starter.
He lost out to C.J. Abrams.
C.J. Abrams, starter, yes.
Let's go Max Muncy.
Max Muncy.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of Dodgers and Braves on this list. But there was one Met. Juan Soto. Even the miserable Mets can have an all-star in the starting all-star.
Everyone has to have one. John?
Let's stick with the Dodgers. We'll go with Andy Pajes.
Correct. Starting 9 for the National League.
Okay.
You have 3 left.
Well, you're not going to tell me the positions. Nope. We're missing an outfielder, I think. Oh, well, there's going to be some Braves on here. What about Drake Baldwin?
Starting catcher.
We'll go with, you said Braves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is Albies in there?
Albies is on there, so we are tied 4 apiece. Winner, whoever gets this one is the winner.
I couldn't believe it when I saw it. And maybe they just saw what he did against the Padres for 6 games, and so therefore he was the starter in the All-Star game. But the lone Philly representative in the starting lineup, Brandon Marsh.
Yep, and I'm sorry, John. That's 5-4. Good game, though, today. That miss on Mookie Betts is what got you. Drake Baldwin, Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, Max Muncy, C.J. Abrams, Brandon Marsh, Juan Soto, Andy Pajes, and Shohei Ohtani, your all-star starters for the National League.
I know so many people are probably upset, like C.J. Abrams is a starter.
Well, you know.
Hey, it happens. Sometimes you got to trade good pieces to get good pieces back. See if the I was curious if the Nationals are going to be around the entire time. Their pitching staff isn't very good. Could be their detriment. What do you think the Nationals are going to do? Do you think the Nationals buy for this team?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Where are they at in the standings right now? They're 47 and 46, a game above 500. 4th place, 6.5 games out.
Mm-hmm.
That's mostly from their offense. Their starting pitch, their starting pitchers are Foster Griffin, Cade Savali, who's on the injured list, I think. Well, who knows? Zach Littell with a 5.02 ERA. Jake Irvin, who's on the 15-day IL, the 5.23 ERA. Miles Michaelis with a 5.78 ERA. Their starting rotation is rough, but they got bats. They got bats. Abrams, 2.9 WAR already this season, 276 average, 864 OPS. He's got 18. He had 19 home runs now. James Wood, 25 home runs, 270 average, 949 OPS. Those guys have had some ups and downs in Washington, but right now both of them up. And focal point of that team in D.C. Do you think they're still going to trade C.J. Abrams? Not at this deadline, but at the end?
I think they will, just based off of, where the organization is. There's 2 ways they could do this. They can either go, hey, we'll sell high on C.J. Abrams because we know we ain't signing him, or they're going to say, you know what, we might have another shot at this. Let's really focus in on the starting rotation and see how it goes from there during the offseason and see where this young team can take us. So I don't know how much younger you can get with this team.
Yeah,
without being the Cardinals.
Right. They only have one long-term deal, and it's Keibert Ruiz, who signed an 8-year, $50 million deal. 8-year, $50 million.
That's for a catcher too.
50 million. I'm like $50 million. He's over the course of 8 years, he's making less than what Juan Soto does in a year.
That's a really expensive contract 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. But if you look at their team, like this offseason, if they really wanted to, Trevor Williams is on a 2-year deal, but he's a free agent. They only have, on terms of like players with guaranteed salaries, the Nationals only have one player that's under contract. It's Keibert Ruiz. They have some interesting ones though too. They have like Cade Savali and Max Krennick, or we say his name. They both have club options, but then they're still arbitration eligible, and then they're free agents in 2030. But it's a very young team, and they're still paying Steven Strasburg $35 million this year. So think about their payroll, $95 million. Their payroll's $95 million. 35 of it is going to Steven Strasburg. Last year, they're paying Steven Strasburg. 35 of the $95 million. Does that strike you as a team that wants to spend money?
Yes, it does, especially when we're talking about having a salary floor next year.
Yeah, they're going to have to.
It's a team that's going to be forced to spend money.
But one that wants to, if there wasn't?
No.
Steven Strasburg accounts for almost 40% of the Nationals roster this year. $35 million. Trevor Williams is getting 7. Zach Littell's getting 3. Keibert Ruiz is getting 5.3. I honestly want to know, like, if Abrams was on the open market right now, what's he getting, like $30 million a year? Maybe more? In terms of like his value? If he was a free agent, then
who again?
CJ Abrams.
Oh, Abrams? He'll probably be in the mid to upper 20s, wouldn't you think? A year?
More than 25?
I would think so.
It's got to be more than 25. I mean, Xander Bogaerts got $25 million a year. I would imagine CJ Abrams getting a lot more. Maybe not.
I can see him being like I could see him being a 250 over 8 or 9 years kind of player.
In terms of value,
getting a little bit less than what Xander. I would say a little bit less than what Xander's getting right now. So if he gets 280, it'd be 280 over 9.
I think he would get I think in the open market, I think somebody would pay him like $20 to $30 million.
100%, I believe it.
Do you know what, you take this for what it's worth, the value like Fangraphs does? They give you the value of how much money in millions per year they should be earning based on what their numbers are. Do you want to guess what CJ Abrams is?
27.
19.
Really?
Yeah. $19.7 million. You want to know why? His fielding is a negative 8.6.
Sheesh.
So what's it say? His fielding runs above average based on outs above average is a negative 8.6, according to Fangraphs. His base running's at 1.3 on his base running runs above average. His batting is super high, obviously 15.7 park adjusted. His positional adjustment, so, they adjust based on shortstops, is a 3.7. He's got a 17 batting and base running combined above average is 17, and his defense is a negative 4.9, which is fielding and positional adjustment combined, which is, again, these are advanced numbers. I'm going to bore you with them. But his offense is just it just kills him. That's why he has a 2.5 Fangraph WAR. That's why guys like Hassan Kim always had a high WAR for a player, and guys like CJ Abrams don't, because the fielding is such a huge factor. I get the fielding part of things, but out of the 3 components you want to be that you are judged on, whether it's hitting, pitching, and fielding to me is the least important. I mean, are you telling me somebody's not going to sign CJ Abrams to $25 million a year? It's like, your fielding's not very good.
No,
there's no way. James Wood value per year, $30 million. He's under control for a long time in Washington. They're going to have him until 2031, except if there's no new rules in there. There's no way Washington gives him any type of money. 1 o'clock hour when we come back. 1 o'clock on a Wednesday. Padres and Diamondbacks coming up at 6:40 tonight. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt at 5:40. All right, we can go in a couple of different directions here. No, that's not what I want. Every time I pull up my Google Drive, it's like, I go to click on the thing that I want, and then it's like, it's still loading, and then all of a sudden, right before the
it jumps
click
up.
goes there, it jumps up, and so I open something I don't want. And then the times that I account for that, guess what it doesn't do?
It doesn't jump up.
It doesn't jump up. It's lame. Okay. I do want to get to our World Cup date here in a second because we didn't get to get to that, and there's some other things that I want to get into here in the final hour of the show. But the FanGraphs leaderboards, you could put in like a search like you could do on Baseball Savant and everything, right? And I always find the most fascinating, the dollars stat, which is the WAR, taking the WAR that a player has and converting it to a dollar scale based on what the player would make in free agency. Now, some of this, like these numbers are going to change because like the more games you play, the higher the WAR you get, or lower the WAR. I mean, there's more possibility for having a higher WAR. Like you don't start the season off with a 50 WAR if you had a great year. The 50 wins above replacement. It kind of slowly adds as the season goes on. So take that with a grain of salt. But right now, because we were talking about the Nationals, they're spending, what did I say, $95 million on a roster? Something around there?
I think so, yeah.
Spending $95 million on a roster. 35 of those millions are going towards Steven Strasburg in the final year that they have to pay him based on FanGraphs' roster resource of their payroll, which means they're spending about 30-something percent, almost 40% of their payroll on Steven Strasburg, which shows, and they could have spent some money and like built around this young team already. Maybe they're waiting. I'd have to go back to see what their payroll was in 2019 when they won the World Series. It has to be very high. Yeah, it was $208 million. So they're obviously have the funds to spend some money on a team here. And maybe they build around CJ Abrams and James Wood, because the question was whether or not we thought the Nationals are still interested in trading CJ Abrams, as they were thinking about doing during the offseason. I can't imagine them giving out a big contract to James Wood to buy him out of arbitration years when they have control over him over the next, 5 years as he's age 23. But when looking at what they would be on the open market, we pulled up the value stats on FanGraphs, and it tells you like how many millions of dollars based on WAR, as I mentioned before, they should be getting paid a year based on if they were into the free agency and how well they've played. I looked at some of the Padres ones. It just kind of shows you just how poorly they've played this year. Oh, man. It's not very good, Frank.
I wouldn't imagine it would be.
Your best player right now on your team via WAR is Fernando. Is that surprising? No, not really. Fernando right now has a 1.8 WAR, which is equivalent to $14.2 million. Then you compare it to how much he's actually making right now.
Slight overpay.
Slight overpay. He's making 20 this season. Remember, he's making 20 this season. Jumps up to 25 next season. Let me ask you this question. I don't know if you've been paying attention to this. If you had to rank the Padres players in terms of best position players on the team, how would you rank those players right now as they're currently playing?
Best position players on the team.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what they are ranked via WAR.
I would say Fernando.
He's number one. He's got a 1.8 WAR. He's got a 2.4 for his batting, negative for base running. all the times he's probably getting thrown out at second.
Like current
4.3 full. Yeah, I'm
current players or
current right now on the team.
Miguel Andujar probably number 2.
Nope.
Really?
He has a negative WAR at this point. He's actually 15th.
What?
His batting's a negative 1.8 now on the whatever it's called, the runs above average based on weighted on base average. Andujar's your 15th best position player according to Fangraphs WAR.
Xander's
number 2. Xander's your second best player on this team according to WAR. This is why you can't just view one stat, right? You have to look at the whole picture. If you had to name the top 2 guys on this team, I would not pick Xander, not for the season he's had, but his base running is high and his fielding's high. He gets a 1.5 WAR. He has the second highest WAR on this team. Fernando and Xander 1-2.
Jackson's
7th because his batting is so poor on this in terms of runs above average.
I would assume Manny because his slug is probably high and he hasn't been bad defensively.
Manny actually has your best defensive outs above average metric on here. He's number 3 on the list. His batting is actually negative. Base running is obviously, sometimes negative. He has a 1.1 WAR. He's your 3rd best player on this team according to Fangraphs.
Gavin Sheets
6th. He's got a 0.9 WAR. That's actually gone down.
1, 2. So I got 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7.
And,
of the top,
and 15.
15 of the top 5.
Miguel Andujar is ranked behind somebody that has been DFA'd by this team.
He's not behind. Stop telling me he's behind Castellanos.
He's not.
Okay.
This guy's still part of the organization. He got DFA'd.
Oh, though. Bryce Johnson?
He's behind Bryce Johnson.
God.
That's
a small sample size out of Bryce Johnson.
Yeah. Bryce Johnson, negative 0.1 WAR. Miguel Andujar, negative 0.2 WAR. Based on, I love the dollar figure too on this. It's so much fun.
Where's Samad Taylor?
8th.
Real okay.
He's got a 0.7 WAR. But again, the more games you play,
it's going to impact it more.
Right.
Yeah.
So he hasn't played as many games, so he's going to be lower on the list. So you go Fernando, Xander, Machado is your top 3. You're missing 4, 5, 9, and 10. Campusano's 5. He has a 0.9 WAR. Again, the dollar figure, Campusano should be making $7 million based on the WAR thing. Again, those numbers are all going to go up if these guys continue to play and not be terrible. The funny thing I think is the negatives. For dollars. Nick Castellanos is 17 on this list.
He owes the Padres how much?
He has he had a negative 0.8 WAR. He owes the Padres $6.8 million. We're just having fun with this. This is foolish. I mean, the whole dollar thing. It gives you at the end of the season a little bit of an idea of what they would be like if they hit in free agency. That you're only 90. The fact that you're 91 games into the season. It's obviously going to change. I mean, if they continue this pace, you could probably just double what a lot of these are.
Freddie Fermin, based off of...
He's 11th. Just missed.
Jeez. Ty France, probably
Ty France is 4.
Yeah.
Ty France is 4. He's got a 1 WAR. Should be getting paid $7.7 million.
I was trying to go in order. Now I'm just trying to get him. I need 8 and 9 right now.
You have 8.
Who is 8?
Samad.
Oh,
you
yes.
Need 9
All right,
and
so
10.
I need 9.
9 and 10.
Cronenworth?
No, he's 16th.
Okay.
He owes the Padres $2.3 million according to Fangraphs. It's a joke.
I can't see Sung Moon Song being in the top 10.
Sung Moon Song is 9.
What?
Sung Moon Song is 9.
Wow.
He's got a 0.3 WAR. Sung Moon Song is 9 on the list.
Rodolfo Duran.
12th.
Okay. That would have been funny.
You've basically guessed everybody else besides Will Wagner, who it's not.
Jace Bowen.
No,
Yeah,
he's
I
not even
didn't
on
think
here.
so.
It's Ramon Laureano. Laureano's
You almost forget that he's there.
0.2 WAR in the games that he had played, 1.7 on the dollar figure. I mean, again, you would expect these to kind of double, if you will, at the halfway point. I mean, you could look at last year's numbers if you wanted to see where the Padres were in terms of value. Like last year in terms of value for the team, like how would you evaluate Fernando's year last year? It was solid, right?
Yeah, it was a decent year.
He had a 6.1 WAR. That's equivalent to $48.7 million a year. He played well over his contract, theoretically.
Oh.
Better or worse.
Okay.
Manny Machado last year. He was number 2.
Mm-hmm.
How much money? You had a guess? His value? He had 3.8 WAR.
34.
30 million. Kind of around what you're paying him right now.
Yeah.
You're number 3 in terms of WAR last year. Our guy. Xander Bogaerts.
He had that big second half.
He missed time, too. He had a 3.2 WAR last year. You know what that is equivalent to on the open market of free agency according to Fangraphs?
28.
$25.8 million. You know what he's getting per year? $25.4 million. He gave you $400,000 worth of extra work. Everybody complains about these guys' contracts. They're
unpaid overtime.
They're kind of getting paid relatively at what they're putting out there. Jackson Merrill last year, $24.1 million. Gavin Sheets last year, $10 million. I'm telling you, like some of these numbers with the WAR and how it figures out with the dollars. I mean, that's kind of what you're paying for on some of these contracts. I think these are ridiculous contracts too. I mean, this is what we talked about it, earlier this week. It's like, this is what you have to pay to get these type of players on your team. I mean, just looking at what these wars are, like I saw 1.3 WAR was about like $10 million. It still checks out with the current deal. If you basically double everything, which I don't even know if that's the case. Like, I think Fernando's going to play better than a 1.8 WAR. I think he's going to play better than a 3.6 WAR eventually. I mean, he's hitting the ball really well.
Yeah, especially
right
if he gets a slug up too.
Right, but like a 3.6 WAR for Fernando is going to get him like around $20-something million, which is right around what he's getting paid. I mean, Xander's already at 1.5. If he gets himself up to a 3 WAR, he's going to be around the $20-something million range in terms of what he would go for on the open market based on just statistics. Now, we both agree we wouldn't be doing either of those. If Xander Bogaerts at free agency at the end of the year, there's not one team that's going to give him $20-something million. But that's kind of what you're paying for in terms of like the value. So I think it's kind of an interesting topic of discussion, Frank, when you start looking at what some of these players are and how much they might potentially go for. I mean, if you are looking at, and I'm going to go back again to last year, which has the, final WARs, wins above replacement for players, which I don't think it's the end all be all, Frank, but I do think it gives you a general gauge of, a general gauge of where a player is at compared to Major League Baseball. Last year, Xander Bogaerts had a 3.2 WAR. So that's $25.8 million. If he gets a 3 WAR, which is what he's on pace for, $24.1 million, he's kind of justifying his contract overall as a baseball player, even though it's not all on offense. I mean, last year, Xander Bogaerts actually had a decent offensive year because of the second half of the season that he had. Things get adjusted for his position. Things get adjusted for a lot of things. The numbers get adjusted for certain factors, if you will. But if you look at last year's team and what they got paid and what the Fangraph said they would get paid in free agency, it's pretty on par for what they're getting paid currently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now this season is going to be a little bit different, but then you start talking about guys like Adrian Morejon, right? Like what he would get on the open market. for the type of player that he is and what you expect him to be, this is why when we had those conversations of like who might potentially come back next year, I think he's going to get paid close to a closer contract.
Yeah, he's got closer stuff. He could do it. He could absolutely be a closer. Just he got pushed out with Robert Suarez being on the team.
And then
pushed back further with Jason Adam. And then when Jason Adam gets hurt, who do they go and get? They go and get Mason Miller. It's like,
I'm trying to run a couple different things on here, but every time like I scroll, the screen just goes black. This computer hates Fangraphs and Baseball Reference and websites that we need to use. You're gonna like Nick Pivetta had a great year last year with a 3.7 WAR, 13-5, and he got Cy Young votes. That's equivalent to like $30 million a year, like that level. Adrian Morejon last year pitched at a rate of $17.9 million a year in terms of Fangraphs' numbers, which is around a 2.2 WAR. And this season, like, he is already the second highest WAR player on this team. When you start talking about what you're going to have next year, which I think ultimately goes into the conversation about what you do at the deadline, I don't see the Padres giving him a long-term contract. I don't see it.
I don't either, unfortunately.
The other thing too, which I find funny now, is there's a lot of how quickly this fan base has gone from this team needs to spend money to now we're trying to save money for everybody. And I want to know why people want to save money. I think I know the answer to it because we had earlier in the YouTube chat the comparison between the Nationals and the Padres. Like, they're spending their money a lot better. Well, what do you want the extra money for? To sign other players or to sign better players that have a reserve just in case? I mean, what do you want to save money that's not yours for? I think I know the answer to that. We'll answer that when we come back. We will also give you the World Cup date. Got a couple of segments left as we lead you into Gwen and Chris, and then the Equal Water SoCal Padres pregame show on Seneca's Urban Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Was Sunday the greatest day of the 2026 World Cup? It might have been. England survived Mexico 3-2 in an instant classic at Mexico City Stadium after playing nearly an entire half with just 10 men. Brazil, they're going home after Norway stunned the five-time champions behind two Erling Haaland goals. Now Haaland joins Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe with 7 goals each, creating one of the greatest golden boot races we've ever seen. But the biggest story off the field, FIFA's controversial decision to overturn Boligan's suspension just before the United States round of 16 match. Critics say it favors the host nation, while supporters argue the U.S. players did nothing wrong. One thing is certain, the soccer has been phenomenal. The drama is off the charts, and this World Cup just reached another level. Biggest day of the tournament. If there was one day that defined the 2026 FIFA World Cup so far, Sunday might have been it. We saw Brazil eliminated earlier than anyone expected, and we saw a thriller between England and Mexico. I will say this, Frank, you mentioned this on the show. Even though Brazil got shocked there by Norway, they weren't really playing up to what we've seen Brazil play over the last handful of World Cups.
No, and Neymar's announced his retirement from international play. Cristiano Ronaldo's expected now to do the same as we record here on Monday after Portugal's loss to Spain today. But other than that, I mean, Brazil is still a world powerhouse. Absolutely. They are starting to get a little bit older, and the young guys, it's kind of like the U.S. in the Qatar World Cup in 2022, where the young guys really aren't there yet to be able to help, and the old guys are just a little too old right now. So they are definitely out of their window. They're still very, very good, but Brazil this has not seemed like that world powerhouse that we've come to expect out of Brazil. Is just the two generations, the coming and going, just haven't melded together at the same time in order for them to really be considered dangerous. It was definitely an upset for sure Norway was not expected to beat a team like Brazil, but with the way Brazil has played throughout this World Cup, I wouldn't call it a surprising result by any means.
England 3-2 victory over Mexico instantly became one of the greatest matches of the tournament. They're playing inside historic Mexico City Stadium, or Estadio Azteca, in front of more than 80,000 passionate Mexican supporters. England built a lead before having to survive nearly an entire half with just 10 men after a red card. Mexico threw everything at them, cross after cross, chance after chance, but England held on behind outstanding performances from Jude Bellingham, Harry Kane, and goalkeeper Jordan Pickford. Jordan Pickford was outstanding last night against Mexico. And the match had everything. 5 goals, 2 penalties, a red card, bench confrontations, incredible saves, massive momentum swings, one unforgettable atmosphere. This is why people love the World Cup.
Yeah, and also the drama that you had between Argentina and Cape Verde as well. Cape Verde and Argentina go into extra time, tied 1-1. Argentina gets a goal in the first 2 minutes of extra time. Just before you go into the extra time, halftime, Cape Verde scores again to tie the game up, and then it's an own goal. Of all the things, it's an own goal that knocks Cape Verde out. Would have been very, very interesting to see what would have happened, especially the fallout, if Argentina were to have lost that match in penalties. So this last week, we saw 2 unbelievable matches in this World Cup.
Teams are chasing the trophy, but another incredible storyline is unfolding. The Golden Boot race may become the greatest we've ever seen. Haaland, Messi, Mbappe, all tied with 7 goals. Normally 6 goals is enough to win the award. This year, 7 goals isn't even leading outright, with multiple matches still remaining for each superstar. History is within reach. How do you see this one playing out?
It's going to come down to whoever lasts longest, really. It's kind of hard to score goals after your nation's already eliminated. It's really impressive, the stars and how the star power has come out in this World Cup. Erling Haaland has done exactly what he's done with Manchester City for all these years. Lionel Messi is just continuing to look like he's still 24. And Kylian Mbappe has been unbelievable. He's one of the next great star in the world of soccer. Really, it's going to come down to whoever lasts longer in this tournament. If Norway continues on and France gets knocked out and Argentina gets knocked out, then it's Holland's to lose. If all of it stays, I think Messi still ends up with it, because Messi has been the main proprietor for all of Argentina's goals in this World Cup, while Haaland.
123 on a Wednesday. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. When we go to break, we're going to be giving away tickets to opening day at the racetrack.
Racetrack?
It's a racetrack, Frank.
Racetrack.
The opening day at Del Mar on Friday, July 17th. Tickets include opening day admission and exclusive access to the party, complete with world-class DJs, craft beers, cocktail bars, photo booths, and private wagering. Tickets at dmtc.com. This event is 21 years or over. We'll be doing that going to break. We are broadcasting live for the Bill House Studios. We know how, and all of our guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Haven't heard from this gentleman in a little bit.
Well, really quick, before we get to this gentleman here, big news, breaking news from Major League Baseball. They have announced the All-Star Ball crew.
Okay. You're getting a foul for this. I saw this.
Can we be happy for someone local going to the All-Star game, please?
I can't believe you dropped the breaking news on this.
Genevieve Ortega-Alves,
congratulations,
is going to the All-Star game as the San Diego Padres, a member of the Padres for the All-Star game ball crew. Congratulations.
Congratulations. You still get a foul for that.
Why?
Breaking news. Come on.
He draws the foul.
You can't go Major League. You can't go like breaking news, Major League Baseball, and then it's okay. Good for her. I think it's great. I think that news is great. Probably not worth the breaking news. I'm surprised you didn't play the sounder.
I don't know where the sounder is. I don't have a breaking news sounder.
We used to have one. That used to be a sponsored thing. Oh. Anyway, I was going to get to, you know what? You should apologize to Dexter because you rudely interrupted me getting to Dexter for that news. Dexter's very important, Frank.
He is.
Why is Dexter not important to you?
When did I say that?
You know what? Is the actions speak louder than the words, Frank?
Okay.
Come on. What's going on, Dexter?
Hey, Frank.
Yes.
I respect the fact that you had to report that because, with all of the negativity right now, any positive Padre news is good news.
Thank you very much.
I commend you on that.
See?
He still gets a foul, though.
Mass respect. The breaking news? But I respect the fact that you did that. The reason why I'm calling is in case your traffic reporters are usually about an hour and a half behind schedule. The 805 at Claremont Mesa is pretty much backed up because there's a brush fire in the area, and they've closed off at least as I've driven past there the southbound lanes. So it's pretty bad. They've listed it as a SIG alert, and they're saying it's about a 10-minute delay. I'm guessing it might be a little bit more because the last I checked, the first responders are just starting to get there, the firefighters. So just keep that in mind for your listeners and stuff. And hopefully it's not going to affect rush, but it is affecting lunch hour. So, do keep that in mind. And
we appreciate that. We appreciate that.
Terrible Padre news. So I figured I didn't want to add to the negativity. So in the meantime, go Padres. And, again, Frank, your heart was in the right place.
Thank you, Dexter. And the last time he called to give in a traffic report, there was a major incident that happened. Right. So I was holding my breath.
We'll try to find some reports on you as we can. Again, we'll wait for the official report or anything like that. He's obviously on the ground over there, but I'll try to see if I can find it real quick. If you want to try to confirm what he was saying in terms of the 805 being backed up. We don't have traffic updates during our show because this is not like our rush hour times. That's why we don't have the traffic updates during our middle of the our show. But,
showing 805 south around Governor Drive in the 52 is where SIG alert. 2 right lanes closed due to brush fire on roadside. 805 south at Claremont Mesa Boulevard, exit 22. Backed up to Governor Drive, exit 24. Reported, updated about 6 minutes ago.
Yeah, I see it now on this.
It's on
the map.
On SIG alert. You're ready to go.
On the SIG alert map.
It is interesting, though, that there's that this brush fire is taking place in one of the very few spots on the 805 that there are no cameras.
Oh, really?
For this, yeah. There's one looking at the 163 south of Balboa, but it doesn't see like where this is. So it's pretty much from it's more or less from Governor all the way to Balboa, more or less. On the southbound side.
Poured it at 12:50. So it's been going for a little bit. So hopefully they knock that out and get people back on their way before the afternoon commute, if you will. All right. I mentioned the going to break, Frank, how the mindset has changed to like trying to save money here. To me, the only reason why fans would want to have like their team save money is to do what with it after?
Use it on prospects.
Spend it on other things, right? It's the problem with the long-term contracts is it holds up. You're committed to just, I want those players for 8 to 10 years instead of being able to buy at multiple free agent lists. But at the same time, it's kind of a cycle though. Like if the Padres didn't sign those big contracts and then now have the money, what would they be doing in the next free agents? Then you'd be wanting them to sign like the Tarek Skubals of the world, and you go down the list about the brand new shiny toy.
And I mean, if you're complaining about the long-term contract, if they don't work out,
in order to get the brand new shiny toy, you have to spend a certain amount of money And in order to make it worth it for you to be able to add pieces around said shiny toy, you have to spread it out over a long period of time. I mean, all of the arguments for not spending on some of these deals and trying to be like cheap. I mean, now it's getting to you can only have young guys because those are the only ones that try really hard, or we want to have money on the side so we can spend money later on other players that might be a shiny new toy later on. But you can't just keep buying the shiny new toy every 2 or 3 years, Frank.
No, you can't. Otherwise, you put yourself in a worse financial position than what you're already in. And again, who knows how much you will actually have to pay for said shiny new toy if Major League Baseball gets what it wants, which is a salary cap. You might try to spend for a shiny new toy, and turns out you overpay by about $10 million a year because they cap it. They cap spending.
I think it'd be more strategic with the cap spending and the thing. What was the latest? We didn't even talk about the latest proposal. I don't think, because I think they didn't the Players Association put something out?
Yeah, it was the Players Association. We kind of glossed over it last Friday, but there really hasn't been much of anything. We kind of just hit like the high notes on that.
Yeah. Wasn't too much more on that. You're going to start seeing a lot more things pop up, right? You're going to see a lot more. A lot of the Players Association asks have been like almost accepted immediately from the owners.
This is from
they're going to do whatever it takes to get that salary cap.
This is from a week ago today. From the players side, expand MLB active roster from 26 to 28 with a 14 pitcher maximum for the first 15 days of the season. Allow for placement of players on the 60-day IL as early as November. To open up additional 40-man roster spots the clubs can utilize during the offseason. Reduce the number of permissible in-season options from 5 down to 3. Accelerate eligibility for Rule 5 draft. And ensure Rule 5 draft will be held this year and every year of the next CBA. Provide MLB service time and salary protections to pitchers who are optioned to the minors over the All-Star break. Enable all players to access club-collected non-proprietary performance data and video designated to increase transparency and allow players to track their work with the same information management is using. That was their proposal as of this time last week.
We got an update on that Monster Energy deal.
Oh,
yeah. So we talked about the
more
the
breaking
patch.
news.
It's not breaking. No, but it's a clarification on what you said earlier of like, they have all these different colors that they can.
Yeah, let them use the colors.
According to the contract, they're required to be the Monster Green. The logo cannot be changed to purple or white because Kansas State was asking about it. To which College Football Reddit on social media put out, the Monster Beverage Corporation, our logo could be whatever cool color looks most aesthetically pleasing with the can it is on. Also, Monster Beverage Corporation, we will pay $5 extra to force every Big 12 team to add a neon green logo to their jersey. That makes that contract even worse.
It's like, come on, guys. That was free marketing right there.
Because people are like, I want to buy the BYU Monster Energy drink. I want to buy the TCU Monster Energy drink. Oh, man, the UCF one's so cool.
What,
stupid.
For a company that makes money hand over fist, they're doing a lot of stupid stuff.
For a company that has a ridiculous amount of different colored cans for their product, for them to be specific towards the Monster Green M is ridiculous. What are you doing?
Looking at the can colors and seeing where
they have all these different types. They got all these different cans. You could literally pick it. They have an orange one. They got a green one.
Watermelon for Cincinnati immediately. Love that right there. Ultra black. You could tell me who. You can tell me who.
Oh, I don't know. Like you said, Cincinnati's already for watermelon.
Well, it's the red.
Yeah, but there's other red schools in that conference.
There's red, black, orange, purple.
There's two purples.
Like a teal. white, a full-on, like an ultra red,
That should be Iowa State.
a peach, yellow, pink, neon green, and then like a baby blue kind of.
Well, the neon green would be Baylor. I guess Kansas State and give Kansas State the purple one, TC. You could take the white one. What else you got?
I mean, and there's even more.
There's so many. Right, there's so many. That's dumb.
Like there's the black can with the yellow M. There's the juice.
Black and yellow.
Like
there's an orange one. They could be Oklahoma State. They have every color. They could literally, and then with the branding, they could put the school logo on there. They would make so much money doing that.
That is such a fail by Monster.
Fail by Monster and by the Big 12. All right, we're moving on. When we come back, we'll get you the World Cup date. Yes, the World Cup is still going on despite Team USA getting eliminated from the World Cup. We'll talk about that. Will Frank address the Arsenal connection to all this World Cup?
No, there's no need to.
The world may never know. We'll talk about the World Cup when we come back to finish up the show. Braden Surprenant Show, Static Sermon Sports Station 97 through the Fan.
But before we go to break.
Oh, fifth caller. If you call in.
So I was ready for you this time.
Fifth caller. You will win a pair of tickets to the party at opening day at Del Mar on Friday, July 17th. Tickets include opening day admission and exclusive access to the party, complete with world-class DJs, craft beers and cocktail bars, photo booths, and private wagering. Tickets at dmtc.com. This event is 21 years plus. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. That is the number to call. Be the fifth caller. You will win opening day tickets to the Del Mar racetrack. Broadcasting live for the Bill House Studios, we know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show. Static is over on Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. Who won the tickets to opening day at the racetrack?
Steve in Fallbrook.
Steve in Fallbrook.
Winner of the tickets.
Steve in Fallbrook. Congratulations. He was pretty excited about it.
He was very excited. He said he's never been to opening day before, so congratulations. Hope you enjoy.
All right, let's get to our World Cup date, if you will. No World Cup games today, by the way.
Nope, nothing today.
Starting to wind down.
It is, unfortunately. No highlights either. Monday, you had Spain versus Portugal. Last minute goal, 90th minute +1 for Spain. Gets Spain through to the round of 8. Of course, we went over yesterday, Belgium beating the United States 4-1. Yesterday, Egypt gave Argentina a scare and a half, but 3 unanswered goals in 13 minutes for Argentina put them through to the round of 8. And then yesterday, a 0-0 draw into penalties. Switzerland comes away with the win 4-3 on penalty kicks. Colombia is out. So the bracket looks as such. Games starting tomorrow in the quarterfinals. France will take on Morocco at 4 p.m. Eastern time. All these games will be on Fox. That will be in Boston. Then on Friday, it'll be Spain versus Belgium here in Los Angeles. Last game that'll be held here on the West Coast. That will be at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Then Saturday, you have 2 games on Saturday. Norway versus England. That will be in Miami at 5 p.m. Eastern, so 2 Pacific. And then Argentina versus Switzerland at 6 p.m. Pacific time. All the games will be on Fox. Semifinals will be on the 14th and 15th. 14th for the France-Spain side of the bracket. The 15th will be for the England-Argentina side of the bracket. The third place game will take place on the 18th, with the final being on the 19th.
How are you doing based on your original picks that we did on that video?
Oh, God, I don't even remember what I had. Not too bad.
I want to say you had France and Spain in the semis.
I did. Yeah, that looked like it was going to be right. So I think I probably have. I think I had Spain, U.S. So I think I'm 3 for 4 in the quarters on the left side of the bracket, and probably 3 for 4 on the right side of the bracket too, with Switzerland, Argentina. I thought Brazil would have beaten Norway. I think those are the only 2. I think I'm 6 for 8 on the quarterfinals.
I had Argentina and France in the final, which is not a bold prediction.
No, and I think that probably will be the final, honestly.
I have to address this. Has anybody heard Elo's new endorsement? I mean, the people on YouTube probably don't, unless you sneak it through and get us in trouble. If we have to, I don't mind accidentally having the ads on for YouTube.
Oops.
Just for that one. It's so detailed. Why is it so detailed?
You can ask Chris. He'll be in here in 13 minutes.
We first heard it, what, yesterday?
I think it was earlier this week.
You know what? It's at least we don't have to listen to well, maybe we still do. We haven't heard the bus stop in Tijuana in a long time. Which is great. Because that one was awful. Is that the all-time worst one we've had to hear?
No. Oh, the one that we've had to hear?
Yeah. I'm getting
nothing comes close to Cars for Kids. Cars for Kids will forever be the worst radio jingle of all time.
Didn't they get shut down?
They did get shut down, yes.
So now you can mention their name.
I would have mentioned it either way. But yeah, Cars for Kids, by far and away the worst, most annoying radio jingle in human history.
The other one that is they got to change up is the roll out.
Oh. I don't even know.
I hear
I
that
don't
so
remember
many
which
times.
one that is.
I do, and I don't want to say it. A lot of these are like really good when they start, but then like you got to get it. You got to make them fresh. But the Elo's new endorsement is detailed, a little bit too detailed. I have gotten multiple texts. Is Elo doing the? Yeah, that's hilarious. It's detailed. That's all I got to say. I'm sure Scraby has already poked the bear on him a little bit. I'm sure he already poked the bear. He already pokes the bear enough, to say the least.
Oh boy.
Anyway, I just wanted to address that. If you missed it, tune in. No. See? Adam in the YouTube chat is twisting our words. We got to keep some of the ads fresh. We got to keep making them fresh. And by the way,
and plus, we have never, to my knowledge, at least of me being here and the time that I was here for Padre games and now doing this show for the year that I have, we've never once had a Cars for Kid commercial on here. That's just to my knowledge. So that's why I felt confident in saying it.
You got to start throwing fouls out in the chat.
Well, okay. Hold on.
I said Scraby is poking the bear, and Gonzo said LOB poking ...
I'll just.
It didn't mention anything else after that.
This is just going to be a blanket. Oh, no, we'll do it again. Hold on. This is just going to be a blanket for the entirety of the chat.
Foul. No, 2 fouls.
Elo out here raising the bars. Raising bars.
Foul. No, 2 fouls.
We've unleashed the beast.
Just text all over the place in the chat.
Just a lot of technical fouls.
Just text everywhere. This is why we can't give adults the internet.
Oh, man. Augie, bang, get him again.
Foul. No, 2 fouls.
Teed up on hump day. It is Wednesday. It's kind of awkward, but it's okay.
We started this by talking about the World Cup.
We got distracted by the Elo endorsements. No, Jimmy Jam in the YouTube chat. Cars for Kids is great and horrible.
No,
don't look it up.
Incorrect.
Don't look it up.
No, I'm not going to look up.
No, I'm talking Jimmy Jam in the YouTube. Don't look it up. Because as soon as you said that, you know what's stuck in my head now? The stupid jingle.
The monotone children.
Yeah. There's a lot of good jingles out there,
The monotone children and the creepy uncle.
There's a lot of good ads out there, too. They're mostly our own sponsor ads, of course.
Oh, absolutely. We have the best ads.
All right.
Some say ever.
What do the Padres have to do to... Oh, we didn't even get to our bold prediction last night. We forgot to do that. And they won. Did we do one on Monday?
No.
No, and they lost. So it evens
We're
out.
1 for 1 on that.
1 for 1 on that. Bold prediction for tonight. Padres, Diamondbacks, 6:40 start. Michael King on the hill, 3.52 ERA. I think Michael King picks up where he left off. I think I think he's going to start putting together some really good starts here. He's 5-7, 3.52 ERA. I think he has a lights out performance against the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Padres win their second game in a row for the first time in a long time. Go Aztecs going with Jake going to go deep back. He's going to go deep back-to-back games.
I'm going to go. I'm going to be more specific with Michael King. I think King pitches into the 7th.
I see that. He's
Michael
done
King
it a couple
pitches into
times
the
this
seventh.
year. He's done it a couple times this year. They're going against Cabrera, who nobody on the Padres have faced yet. He's 0-1 with a 4.73 ERA, 10 strikeouts, not a big sample size. I forgot the game's on ESPN tonight, so it's actually a 7 o'clock start.
Yes,
you can
it
hear
is.
it tonight on 97 through the Fan. There's too many things in the LO. Or, sorry, in the LO chat. I would say the LO chat. Did you see?
Foul. No, 2 fouls.
Too many. They keep going in. Nate said you're stiff reffing today, is what he said.
Foul. Not 2 fouls.
3 fouls. 6 fouls. Oh man.
We got our Hosmer cameo now, is what we got.
Yeah, there you go. You should make him talk to Ello.
All it
about
took was
stuff.
Chris Ello. Thanks, bud.
Talk to you guys tomorrow.